Have some fun tonight. Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the copy? Right foot down. We got to go, player. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your head in it. Holy oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. Fix your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Look great. Ridiculous, man. Holy. You see that? Holy cow. Good job, man. Two times, baby. Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. We're live on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast again. We're all excited for all the news that's broke today, and I can guarantee you, no matter what we do in the hot take segment, we will not shock you as much as I show speed. So let's go with that into the segment. Who's up?
How do I even open? How do I follow that up? I don't know how hot my take is. It's something I talked about in my video today, but yesterday I saw an article and there's some commentary going around. What do having all these international drivers in NASCAR actually accomplish? Like, you look at the results this past week, and outside of SVG finishing 10th, no one else finished inside the top 20. I mean, poor Kobayashi got KO'd by Stenhouse, finished outside the top 30 at the end there. But to that I say, having international drivers in NASCAR may not make a huge impact right off the bat, but long term, I think this legitimizes NASCAR to other motorsports across the world. And I think as other sports begin to go more and more global, this is a good thing. NASCAR is sort of reimagining their brand. I think across the world, everyone sees F1 as the pinnacle. NASCAR is this sort of insular, very niche American thing. And I think NASCAR is trying to push back against that narrative. And I think having guys like Kostecki, SVG, Kobayashi, Jensen, Button helps push back against that narrative. And if NASCAR ever does want to go global, which I think is part of their plan, this helps. So long term, I think having these drivers race is a good thing, even if initially they're not really moving the needle.
I don't really have a racing hot take, but I will say this. We went to Disney World this weekend. Me and Claudia did. And I'm going to give a hot take for anyone who's a Disney fan in this chat. We did Epcot. We did Magic Kingdom. And I specifically really liked Test Track. And it was kind of, the cars look like the Chevy Next Gens. And I'll say this, Epcot better than Magic Kingdom. That's a hot take right there.
Damn. Yeah, no, you probably got IDK frothing at the mouth. He's a Disney nerd. So, but all right, my hot take has to do with with last Thursday's SRX race. Now, fans were upset about ESPN basically bumping down SRX coverage to ESPN2 for Little League Baseball. I'm going to say ESPN made the right decision in doing that. While we love racing and stuff, it is a business at the end of the day. More people watch Little League than, a 6-week SRX series, obviously. And it's not like they bumped us down to, ESPN News or something like that. I feel like that would be way more disrespectful. But you know what? Kept us on ESPN2. And then as soon as the game was done, then we were up. So if it were NASCAR, then yeah, that would be a much bigger deal. But because it's just a limited series, 6 races to be exact, I think ESPN made the right call.
Damn. Well, I'm going to go into it with this. We had the announcement of NASCAR Classics yesterday, and I think we all agree it's a good thing. But I'm going to go a step further. I think that this, in my opinion, will lead to a revolution of how NASCAR fans will be able to consume old races, new races, racing in general. Because what it's proving, in my opinion, is that NASCAR is starting to take more control of its assets, of its properties here. If you go on there, there's races all the way back from the 50s, all the way up to today. And I think that whether you're a new fan or an old fan, having that ability to go back and watch any race you want is going to keep people invested long term. Because even if the modern day pisses them off or they don't like it, they can go back and like something else. NASCAR is delivering to the fans in a way that they never have before, that's similar to what F1 does. I think because of that, it's only going to revolutionize it further, and this is only the beginning. That's my hot take. I know it might not be that hot, but I that's my thoughts.
No,
I think
it's
our
all good.
hottest take tonight was Danny's Disney take.
Yeah, maybe.
We
Yeah.
had an off week this week, unfortunately.
Most people would actually agree with me, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, just the fact that NASCAR Classics is free is absolutely unbelievable. They could have
Yeah.
put it behind a paywall.
I really hope that they get a Roku app as soon as possible because I kind of don't want to just go on to a computer to watch it.
Yeah, true that. Yeah,
That's
hopefully
fair.
they'll have that up.
It works well on mobile too, but guys, let's not talk too much about the past here. Oh, at least not the too far back past. Let's talk about the past when it comes to Sunday. Now let's talk about McDowell supremacy.
He
Yes,
did
I
it.
know
Ready.
I know what I said last week. You know what? Maybe this should have been my hot take. I think long term I still agree with that take. But I don't care right now, man. There's not many times you get to say that Michael McDowell dominated a race.
He dominated
He
from start to
got
finish.
lucky because of Suarez. Because if it wasn't for that, I don't know we're having the same conversation. But he did have the best race of his entire career.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was insane.
And also, thank goodness that caution came out, because if it didn't, he probably would have led damn near like every single lap, other than like maybe the first two, I guess.
And how about Darian trying to jinx him, and then the jinxing gods take
What?
out Todd Gilliland instead?
Oh, what? No, I never try to jinx anybody. It just happens on its own. But I was happy he won. I was like, everyone is happy McDowell won, man. And also
Yeah.
front row after all these years, bro. Front row, bro. They've been
living up to their name now.
Yeah, they've been in NASCAR since 2005. And I remember the days when they used to run the unsponsored blue and black 92 or the next week the blue and black 37. They had multiple numbers, multiple manufacturers.
The solid yellow Long John Silver, solid white Taco Bell.
And then they transitioned to the food sponsors and stuff. So they've come a long way, man. And they're one of the best Ford teams. And just how about these Ford teams, man? RFK
really
coming back.
Really
and then
before we get to that, Eric, I want to know what you think of this win, what the statement is with it. Before Darian, before you leave like the odyssey of NASCAR here.
Yeah, Darian has a knack for kind of just summarizing the race in like 60 seconds or less.
All right, we're done. Thanks to Darian.
We're done.
Okay.
We're done now. Nothing to speak about.
No, I mean, Michael McDowell winning, I don't know what else to say. I mean, Danny was right. You know, Daniel Suarez was going to be a factor if his pit crew and, you know, they don't make a mistake there at the end. But the fact that McDowell had to hold off, you take a step back, like, you know, he was flawless. Suarez's team made a mistake. McDowell consistently just made the right moves. He was able to go out and pass, I think it was Suarez in the opening stage, just purely on speed, won that first stage, max points. And then stage two, he was going to win that stage if Keselowski and Hamlin don't play their strategy. And even then, McDowell, if you remember on the last lap, was able to swoop in and pass Suarez again, pass Keselowski, was able to go 2 for 1. And then at the end of this race, they didn't mess up the final pit stops. He paced himself perfectly because he had to hold off Chase Elliott. And I know Chase Elliott hasn't won a road course race in like 2 years, but he's still probably the best road course racer in the Cup Series, or he's top 2, top 3. He drives for arguably the best team in the sport. Like, that is, you see the 9 car in your mirror making a right-hand turn, like, you get nervous. Like, he is expected to win. He is the favorite. And so for McDowell to, again, pace himself perfectly that whole final stage with a playoff spot on the line, like, this was as high pressure, as clutch as it gets in NASCAR. And you don't expect a team like Front Row Motorsports and Michael McDowell with a rookie crew chief to nail it, but they did. So that was really impressive.
That leads into, and Danny, I want you to start off on this one. I'm going to put a poll out about it. We know this team's in the playoffs now. This team has, while the average finish doesn't show it, this team has run faster this year than in previous years. How far does McDowell and the 34 team get?
I think Ford in general is showing a better resurgency this year outside of SHR. I think, let's see, run for the tracks real quick. We have Bristol's in there.
Kansas.
It's Kansas and Darlington, right?
Yes.
Those don't really stick out to me as being good for him.
He was pretty fast last year at Kansas when I was there.
He's going to have a really good round of 16, but maybe round of 12. Didn't you factor in a Talladega? So I'm going to say round of 12. I wouldn't roll out a round of 8, depending on what happens.
Right now, he's got 6 playoff points for sure after Indianapolis. I'm not sure if he has any other playoff points. He's not going to be top 10 in regular season points. He's not going to get any other. So he's going to go into the playoffs with the 14th, 15th, or 16th most playoff points. So if he gets through that round of 16, which right now I don't think I'd pick him to, but if he did get through that round of 16, that next round with Talladega and the Roval works out pretty well for him. He could be a sneaky round of 8 threat. He could be like an all or nothing. He'll either flame out in the first round or shock us all and make it to the round of 8.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like his floor is the round of 16, and the ceiling is definitely the round of 8. I mean, Chase Briscoe with SHR of all teams made the round of 8 last year. So I feel like, if he does reach his ceiling, it is very doable. It's very doable to make it to the round of 8. A lot of things would have to happen, though.
Well, these are his finishes last year in the round of 16. 6th at Darlington, 16th at Kansas, 11th at Bristol.
That's good.
After that,
That's
11th at Texas, 3rd at Dega, 27th with a late race incident at the Roval where he ran top 10 most of the day.
Okay, that's consistent. That sounds about like what you need to make it through the round of 16 early on. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
So I'm going to say I think the ceiling is 8th in the round of 8. But I think the floor is still, that round of 16 exit, just because this team, I think that he was talking about how there were certain pieces of equipment this team doesn't have yet, that now because of the way they performed and the prize money they've gotten, that they're going to be able to be brought basically to the modern day. Because from what it sounds like, they have to rent out, is it the laser scanner that RFK has? But they have to rent out equipment at certain days of the week from RFK because they don't have their own yet.
Wow.
Which I think makes it more impressive.
Yeah, that really does. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the little jump start they needed, man. So yeah, maybe they might just, going on a tear from here on out. Maybe. But
off the top of my head, like, are they outside of JTG Doherty with Stenhouse, are they the only team this year to have won a race that's not like directly getting serious factory support? Like Toyota supports 2311 and Gibbs. RFK is one of the Ford flagship teams. RCR is a flagship Chevy team. So like outside of JTG, I think Front Row, chat will correct us if we're wrong, but Front Row might be the only other team now. And, Daytona 500 is a plate race. So again, I think that just speaks to McDowell's win was arguably the most impressive of the season.
I believe you're right. I would think, I don't have actually I do have the list of winners on me. Hold on. Let me change the ticker and I'll be able to tell you.
Yeah.
But
that's funny.
I want to say yes. Is Stenhouse or is JTG not factory supported then?
I don't think so. I think they they have decent resources for what they are, but I don't think they get much direct, and certainly not on the level of Trackhouse and Hendrick and RCR.
Michael is putting it in the chat here. Michael Honeychuck says the Hawkeye system. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's what they're missing out, which is pretty integral in competing on a regular basis. By the way, 50% polled have said that they think the round of 12 is where they're getting. 33 say the round of 16. 12 say round of 8. 4% are holding out on the dream, saying Final Four.
Hey, if you're that confident, put some money on them then for the Final Four.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, you might as well go all out, right?
Yeah, well, someone else I think we can put money on, kind of moving on to another driver here, is that guy that we mentioned earlier as the second place finisher, Chase Elliott. Now, Chase came home second. Last 10 laps or so, I think Chase had the better car of the two. Yes, I know McDowell was kind of holding it back a little bit, but it looked like Elliott had started figuring some stuff up out on the run before, and then had really started to charge towards the end, and I don't think McDowell was holding back when he's right in the rearview mirror. So he's 80 points back now because of this reset. Eric, I'll start with you on this. 80 points back. Watkins Glen's coming up. Good super speedway racer with Daytona. Does Chase Elliott still make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think he does. I don't want to spoil my pick at the end, but I think he wins Watkins Glen. You look at his road course results, and he didn't race COTA, but he was, I believe, 5th at Sonoma, third at Chicago. And I know we got to put an asterisk by Chicago. And it was, the rain, the flip strategy, all that stuff. But second at Indianapolis. I mean, I said this earlier. He hasn't won a race in the next gen era. Probably should have won Watkins Glen a year ago until that late race restart. I think he's the favorite going into this race. Now, obviously, even being the favorite, he has like a 15 to 20% chance of winning. So odds are he still won't win and he will miss out. But I'm putting all my eggs in that basket. I just think Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman, for that matter, Danny, have both shown a little more speed consistency the past 3, 4, 5 weeks. And we're going to Chase Elliott's best track. So I think Watkins Glen, he wins.
I'm going to counter that to say I don't trust either Chase or Alex Bowman to make the playoffs. Yes, statistically, this is Chase Elliott's best racetrack, but also when Chase Elliott is under immense pressure like he is, he doesn't perform the same way that he usually can. And this has been a year full of pressure from all season and hasn't been able to win yet. I think we could see a case where just the slightest mistake happens and goes the entire race. And then also, same thing for Alex Bowman here. You put both of those guys in a win and that's it kind of situation, which they probably will be at Daytona. I don't trust them to not make stupid blocks and possibly one of them cause the big one at Daytona.
Really quick, Darren. I mean, I don't know about Bowman. Bowman's raced well in some pretty, pressure-filled situations and run well for wins before. But, I mean, Elliott, to get into his championship-winning Final Four, like, he had to basically win that race with the way that it was panning out towards the end.
That's true.
I think he might be hit or miss under pressure, but he's not bad.
I just don't say it working out this year.
He used to struggle under pressure. I mean, he choked a few wins away, arguably, before he finally started winning races.
It's little things this year. Like, just a few times that I've got to talk to him. Like, I think back to what he said to me at Darlington. He's like, he was putting all the blame on him, the driver, of being why they would just be like, he was saying the car's too good for the kind of driver I am right now. And I think of that a lot. And I'm like, I just don't know if he hasn't fully been back. He hasn't fully been there yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Danny here. I don't think he makes it. Not because he doesn't he doesn't do well in like pressure filled situations and stuff. It's just he's not the best when you need him to be. So like he has like one of the best average finishes, I think, during the second half of the season, if I'm not mistaken. But second at Chicago and then another second too. So like you need him to win, but I mean like he's in a must-win situation. So he's running way better, but he just can't win. That's the problem.
Now pressure off his back. I won't be shocked if he rattles off 4 or 5 wins in the playoffs. I really won't.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy if that happened. If he doesn't make it and then all of a sudden just like goes on a tear.
You would think that Mr. Tony Stewart coat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 2006.
Well,
2006.
I think we're gonna balance this out here when it comes to the panel because I think it's unlikely in a lot of ways, yes, but he's been getting better and better at road courses every single race, both in finish, but as well in performance. And this past week, in my opinion, is the first time, I would say, honestly, since Watkins Glen last year, where I thought I was watching the regular road course dominator Chase Elliott run. The guy who is competing for every road course win, who's up there scaring everyone in the rearview mirror if he's behind them because he is so much faster. Like at the end of this race, you give him half a lap more, he wins this race this weekend. He was charging towards the end. And like I said, I don't think McDowell was taking it easy when Elliott is right on his bumper. But I will say, I do think that the 80% of the yes vote for me relies on Watkins Glen. I think he can. I don't think he should be written off for Daytona. People keep writing him off like if he doesn't win Watkins Glen, he has no shot whatsoever. Newsflash: he won Talladega last year, which is a super speedway, which is the most similar super speedway as well to Daytona
and Atlanta.
Yeah, and so he's by no means a slouch. And last year, probably would have won if him and Larson don't get together, or at least run second. So I think he still does. I'm more like 55% that he does. I will say if he doesn't win this week, though, it's going to be rough for me to say yes. He'll be one of the favorites, but man, this week is it where all the pressure lies. And looking at the chat, put it up to a poll. 212 votes in, 62% say no.
Damn, I didn't expect it to be that high.
62.
That seems about right to me. I think Chase Elliott has a 35% chance of winning this weekend, realistically, which is like really high for like a normal favorite going into a race. But I go 35%, and I think that's what it is. I think there's a 35% chance he wins, and if he wins, obviously,
can I be real for just a second? There's a small part of me that is rooting for him not to make it because Bowman is probably also not making it. So I want me and Claudia to both not have a driver in the playoffs.
Oh man,
that's so mean.
It's ruthless.
I love it.
Now, to be fair, I did see the 9 car is actually, to complicate things, it's in the owners' playoffs currently.
Yeah. Ooh, there you go, Chase fans. You can at least root for that.
Thank you, Josh Berry.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it Matt Weaver that tweeted it out or Jeff Gluck? And I
think that's who I saw. Matt Weaver did an article, and I think that's the one I saw.
A ton of hate for it.
Why?
No, because it doesn't matter compared to the drivers one. Which, to be fair, NASCAR doesn't promote it like it matters. But
it actually matters more, at least when it comes to payouts.
Yeah.
So
exactly. But they're trying to say like, oh, you don't know what you're just causing. Like, no, he's just stating facts.
I used to be considered a huge Chase Elliott hater, and I found in the past week since I've been promoting Chase Elliott winning at Watkins Glen that apparently now I'm the greatest shill since NASCAR shill in our chat.
Hey, welcome to the club.
And I told him this weekend I'm becoming an Alex Bowman doubter, and he's becoming an Alex Bowman promoter.
Daddy, you're an Alex Bowman denier at this point.
Yeah, we're switching. Yeah, you swapped roles, bro. It's like you're on your villain arc now.
This is my I'm a heel. I turned heel.
Yeah, you turned dominant from WWE.
Yes.
Well, talking about Elliott, we talked about McDowell. Those were the guys that were up front dominating this race. But the other guy is Suarez, who ran with and in front of the 34 for a good amount of this event. Could have won without the pit issues. I'm going to ask you guys this one. Does Suarez this week, who's been bad fast at a lot of road courses, does he come up and spoil this party for the 9?
Yeah, I mean, we saw it last week. I mean, when he got the pole, I was like, well, now hold up. Let's see how he does, in the race, because we've seen, them, put together these qualifying runs before and then not show up in the race. And then all of a sudden, he was, running up front consistently and stuff, but unfortunately had the pit road issue. So could have finished way better, could have even won perhaps maybe if a few things went his way. So yeah, I can see him spoiling the party this weekend.
I think he's going to have 5th to 7th place speed, kind of like he had at Indianapolis, but I just don't fully trust that team to not get in their own way at some point or another. I mean, at some point there's a reason they're 17th in points, and it's because while they've had speed at times, they make mistakes or they run into issues. It's just become sort of an epidemic with that team. Almost, it feels like they just can't really stay consistent. I still look back at Nashville as a what if. They probably had the best car or equal to their teammate, but wrecked in qualifying, couldn't overcome it, So I think he'll be quick, but if I had to pick between him and Elliott, I expect the 9 team to execute better.
What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, obviously I don't think Bowman's gonna win at Watkins Glen here. I think Chase Elliott's definitely the one I'm watching more.
What about Suarez?
I don't trust Suarez. I haven't all season.
I want to say this. I think he's going to be a guy that is kind of that top 5 level, like around the edge of the top 5.
Yeah.
And last year we saw the dominant cars get into each other. Now Larson did win, but there's crazy stuff that happens. There's a lot of tomfoolery at these road courses. I'm not counting him out. I would not put him as the favorite over Elliott. I probably would over Bowman, but over Elliott, no. But at the same time, he was faster than Chase Elliott this past week. Now, it's Elliott's best track, I get that, but flukes happen too. And if there's a more likely fluke to happen, I think it would be Suarez outrunning Elliott.
But this type of road course is so much different than last week's road course that I think it'll tie in better. Chase, I think, will be one of the top 5 cars. I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he'll be one of the top 5 cars. I think this kind of track ties in good to guys who are traditionally good here, like Truex, like Kyle Busch has been good here before. There are other guys I think that can be good here this weekend.
We're not really, I know we're going to talk about playoffs in a moment, but we haven't really mentioned Ty Gibbs or AJ Allmendinger yet as favorites. I've been kind of off the Allmendinger bandwagon the past couple of weeks, and I nailed my suck prediction last weekend, I must say. But Ty Gibbs is a sneaky one. I mean, he won the Xfinity race at Indianapolis. He's going to run the Xfinity race at Watkins Glen. Like, Ty Gibbs is a sneaky one. I saw enough. I think he had a top 5 car at Indianapolis, but got wrecked on that, lap 5 restart with Logano piled in like an idiot. And
the final restart.
His only the final restart with 80 to go.
didn't the 91? I think SVG had spun him out.
SVG kind of finished him off. I'd have to watch it again. It was a little bit of both, but yeah. Hey, I think Ty Gibbs is gonna be good.
Some people in the chat are pointing out, although right now he's kind of pretty much in, we can't rule out Brad Keselowski because we know how good he has ran here in the past.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, him. I mean, Kyle Busch could keep the win away from him too. He's good. Truex. This is probably the first time in a long time I think we've went to Watkins Glen, and we'll talk about this towards the end of the show when we talk about Watkins Glen. But where Elliott's the favorite by the numbers, but there's not somebody who's just a runaway favorite at this point.
And let's consider the fact Chase Elliott is a favorite when we have traditional stage breaks. We haven't seen them race on old Watkins Glen without stage breaks in a long time. That could bring out who your real talent is for this one.
Well, and also too, it can bring out, just more parity and stuff too. I mean, there's going to be varying strategies and stuff. It's going to be exciting, man. Thank goodness NASCAR took away stage yellows for road courses.
To kind of end off a few storylines that really don't need too much, just kind of I want to mention here. SVG came home 10th, which I think is pretty damn respectable for what he had to deal with differently than Chicago. But the interesting stat here is that he's the first driver to debut with back-to-back top 10 finishes since 1978 by none other than Terry Labonte.
Oh, that's pretty good company.
Now, probably ovals compared to road courses, so I'm not going to jump the shark too much on this. But the race itself was 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 58 seconds long. And the longest run, that last run of the race, was 117 minutes, basically 2 hours of the race.
Damn.
That ties the longest run that's been in a cup race since 2016, which was the Atlanta race, the long run in that race that I believe either started out or was towards the middle. So that was a grind. And
yeah, 2 hours of green flag racing, and the win was decided by this much.
Yeah,
it's like that was good. I'm glad that it still had a fairly tense finish and a lot of interesting storylines up front.
Yeah, this comment really quick from Marshall's funny. He says the Indy Cup race. Fun fact: the Indy Cup race weekend was shorter than last week's NASCAR Weekly podcast. Race was 2 hours 9 minutes. NWP last week was 2 hours 40 minutes.
Oh, it's probably gonna be shorter than this one with all the stuff that came out today.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, I guess with this being the third road course race for Indianapolis, I want to kind of, before we get to playoff stuff and end off the weekend here, I want to ask you guys, what should the future of IMS in NASCAR be? Because there's a lot of people and they're testing the oval. There's a lot of people for it. A lot of people are saying, hey, we had a really good race with the road course. Like, why are we leaving this when we just finally figured out the formula? Then there's others who are saying, why don't we just do either one? So I want to ask you guys, and just whoever wants to jump at it first, what should the future of Indy be?
I vote oval, only because there are other road courses elsewhere that I would like to see added to the schedule, namely Montreal. I would even say Road America. It would be fun to see them get a summer date back. But I want the Indianapolis Oval to return. The crowd in person may not be much bigger, but the TV audience will. I'll take that trade-off.
Yeah, I'm with Eric on that one. If the crowd's not going to change either way, let's just go back to the oval. That's traditional. That's classic. That's more iconic to say. I won 400 miles on the Brickyard Oval, the Brickyard 400. I think that means more in the grand scheme of things. And also, I would say run the oval, get rid of a Richmond date, and give Road America back their cup date. And I don't know what they're going to do at the straight course in Chicago, if that's going to return or not for sure. but we could always go to somewhere else too with that.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with them. Just bring back the oval. I mean, the road course isn't a crown jewel. I thought it would be at first, but it just doesn't hit the same at all. And yeah, it's like if the crowd's not going to change too much, you might as well go back. But you need to make it special in its own way, make it, somehow very exclusive, bump day, reference to the Indy 500. But I'd say though, like, I don't know, like the worst case scenario I could see happening is like, okay, people hate the oval again, which I wouldn't be shocked if that happened.
Oh, they will.
Everyone hates the oval again, and then they want to go back to the road course, but then NASCAR and Indy are like, okay, we'll just like rotate it. I could see that happening in like 4 to 5 years.
I just don't want to rotate it. Like, just give me one or the other, and I'd rather be the oval.
Yeah, I personally don't either, but I could see that though. I could see.
Well,
Go for it. I should have made this my hot take. I'm sorry. A bunch of us here went to Indy for the road course race 2 years ago, and I had a great time. I thought it was fun. I went to the Brickyard 400 in 2007. The facility at Indianapolis Motor Speedway is great. Is very nice, very clean, very modern in most areas, most cases. But the sight lines suck. Like it's a terrible track to watch an oval race at in person. I'll be completely honest. So, the in-person crowd is what's going to be like that just may always be a struggle at Indy, because if you gave me the choice between Kansas, Daytona, Indianapolis, I would never go to Indianapolis to watch an oval race aside from the Indy 500, purely for the pageantry.
See, I'd go for, and I think I'm in the boat a lot of people are. I think they're the first year the oval comes back, because I think at this point it's probably a done deal. I think that first year, I think you're going to see probably the biggest crowd in like 10, 12 years there, because there's people that have the curiosity factor or they didn't know what they missed. But I'm going to stand by this, even though it ended up being the wrong decision, because I think as well they should go back to the oval. I think it was the right decision to leave it the first time after 2020, because it was worth giving it a shot, seeing if it worked. I thought the racing wasn't bad personally until all hell broke loose the last 2 years before this. And I thought this race was the best one yet. I thought it was the right decision to do it, and I will stand by that still. Now, we've learned with new information it's not. I think the biggest reason that this is the right decision, going back to the oval strictly, is I think the TV side. We'll talk about it in a bit. The ratings were not good this week. Now, they had other factors that compounded into it, but even the last 2 years didn't match up to what Brickyard 400s, when run on a scheduled date, not against a bunch of regular season NFL games, what it can do. And NBC, in my opinion, needs a crown jewel. Yes, it has a Southern 500, but they shove it over to USA. It's going head-to-head with a bunch of college football games that have a lot more precedence at that time. And on top of all that, NASCAR treats it as just another playoff race more than a crown jewel anymore, in my opinion, with promotion.
Same thing, Bristol night race.
Yeah, NBC needs to have a crown jewel that cannot just be like the Daytona one, because I guess that would be their number one other than Chicago this year. They need that. Fox has the Daytona 500. They have the Coke 600. They have that Spring Talladega race, which always has, I think, a different feel to it than the fall one does. They have the throwback race. What does NBC really have that's all that special at this point anymore, outside of the Daytona cutoff and the finale? I think they need something to match with it. So I think that's a big reason too. But I'm going to agree with you guys, and apparently I'm agreeing with the chat here. 70% of you saying that it should be, 71% saying it should be the Brickyard 400, to 25% every other year. 4% strictly say stay on the road course.
I had something to add to that too. Imagine the hype, and granted, this is pre-booking 2 races a year from now. Imagine the hype if Kyle Larson pulls off the Brickyard 900, winning both the Indy 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same season.
or just runs good, or happens to run good.
No, win. It's got to be win. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can see him running well though, but it's a good idea.
We talk a bit about Kurt Busch when he did the double and how big that was, but it really, no one outside of people who really cared about it.
He blew a motor at Charlotte. He didn't even come close to finishing.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So
like it will suck if like Larson Rex been like lap 2 in both races.
Yeah, or he doesn't even start the race. That's happened before.
What would be
Mechanical issue.
interesting is if there is a rare instance of rain in Indy, or he wins and then he's cutting it close to the start.
Oh yeah, because that happened to Tony Stewart in 2001. Yeah,
it's like, okay, we've got Justin Allgaier on standby.
Well, and it's not like the Indy 500 starts at noon like it used to. Like, it starts a bit later now. So
yeah, let's be honest. Charlotte will have rain. NASCAR will get delayed.
yeah, it'll be okay.
He's fine.
It's like, we're racing on Monday. Don't worry about it.
As long as his flight can land.
That's talking a little too far ahead, guys. Let's talk a little bit ahead, but more about the next 2 weeks here. The playoffs are coming up, and I'm gonna put on screen right now. This is closer and both further away than it looks. So we got Bubba Wallace plus 28 right now. He's in 16th. Suarez minus 28 and Ty Gibbs minus 49. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski are above these guys, separated now by 2 points. If we have 2 winners and it's not them, one of those guys might be hacking it up for the season and just running for 17th. So with that in mind,
that's crazy.
What do we think here? Like, guys, like Darian, I'll start with you. I want you to start with just the line that we have now, 16 through 18. Of these 3, what are you looking at?
First off, can y'all hear the freaking motorcycle revving in the background?
No.
Okay. Good. It was annoying the hell out of me. All right. Secondly, it's just pulling out. Secondly, okay, here's what I'm looking at. Bubba Wallace plus 28, Suarez minus 28, Gibbs minus 49. For Gibbs, I felt like his best opportunity to get in the playoffs, I felt like it was last weekend. He had the top 5 speed. He was, he had the extra track time. I know we had the Glen and Daytona, but I see a bunch of I feel like there's like, at least, 9 or 10 guys that I could see winning before him right now, of course. And then Suarez, though, I mean, he showed me a little something, but, he could have had a much better day. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And Bubba Wallace right now, man, for Bubba Wallace fans, a few weeks ago, y'all thought y'all was cool. Y'all thought y'all were good. Oh, we're going to point our way into the playoffs. No problem. Psych. And I am personally going to still stick by my preseason prediction. I don't think Bubba Wallace makes it. I mean, plus 28 above the cut line, man. I mean, like you get one more different winner and then bam, a whole new ball game. So yeah.
The problem is for Bubba is say Chase Elliott, Allmendinger, they don't win. Say Kyle Busch wins this weekend. I could see Daniel Suarez cutting half of that points deficit in just the stages. Bubba's not going to collect stage points, most likely. He's probably not going to finish top 10. So if Suarez just finishes fifth, that's 6, 12 points. And then he's probably gaining another 10 to 15 points on Bubba at the end of the race. So all of a sudden that 28-point deficit is like a 3-point deficit. And you go into Daytona where Bubba would probably be favored over Suarez, but still all bets are off. Anything can happen. You're not in control of your own destiny at that track. So Bubba did everything right at Pocono, Michigan, earned a lot of points, left a few on the table here and there, like Michigan. I don't know why he finished 18th. He was so good in the stages, but collected a lot of points those weeks at the tracks he's good at to protect against this. We knew Indy was going to be a struggle. Watkins Glen was going to likely be a struggle. So, it's all about limiting the damage this weekend and hoping and praying we don't have back-to-back McDowell type wins. Like what he could survive one. He was okay with one wild card win. He can't have 2. That's dangerous.
Doesn't even need to be McDowell. Granted, I've been saying I don't think he's going to, but if Chase Elliott does win, it's over. There's no way, except for winning Daytona, that Bubba Wallace could make it.
Yeah.
Well, looking too, I mean, this gap that he had last week was what, 58 points?
It was a lot.
It's 28 right now. He made so Suarez made up 30 points.
I don't feel safe about any of those 3 guys. I really don't. I think I feel safer about Harvick and Keselowski, but I understand there is a chance that one of those guys might not make it too.
Well,
yeah, and
it's just with how Bubba runs on these road courses and how Suarez runs. Like if Suarez has a race this week where he just finishes fifth in stage 1, stage 2, finishes the race, that's 10 stage points that Bubba I don't think is going to get, and then What I keep forgetting. What do you get? Was it 32 points for a 5th place finish now?
I think so. Probably about that. Yeah.
Okay, let's just say 42, and then 13 less than that be like 19 for an 18th place finish, which is roughly what Bubba could get. I'm just doing rough math here. That's 23 points. 23 points that I think Suarez could easily make up on Bubba Wallace. If there's not a new winner, we're still sticking with this cut line. 5 points going to Daytona. Listen, Bubba's the favorite out of those two, but it's Daytona.
Anything can happen.
Well, yeah, Bubba could crash out on lap 1 or lap, for all we know, 171, depending on how it rolls out. So at this point, if I'm the 23 team, you got that lead, but you know Suarez is going to probably be the better team, better car. I think the 23 has to be aggressive this week. Go for extra stage points, stage wins. You got to go for, I mean, if you go whatever strategy they're not doing, like the leaders, do that one if it's at all possible.
Yeah, I agree with that. If there's any way you can squeak out a couple of stage points, if you're Bubba Wallace, I think you chase those. You'd squeak out whatever you possibly can.
And I know that Daytona's 160 laps, but let's be real. There's probably going to be a green-white checker.
That's
like read between the lines, people.
Yeah, I figured that was the joke you were making. I was going to say something.
Yeah. I know.
We get multiple overtimes.
That could happen. Come on. Look at pretty much every super speedway race, but like save for 3 in the last 5 years. But yeah, I mean, this could totally be turned on its head and not even matter by this time a week from now. But if it does, it's going to probably be a lot closer. But guys, I think unless you got anything else, I think that about covers everything from this weekend.
That's it. Yeah, Watkins Glen, or no, not Watkins Glen. The Indy Road Course, a pretty good weekend for its standards, and can't wait to go back to the Oval next year. And I can't wait for this motorcycle to turn off. This is friggin' blow my ears. I'm wearing headphones. Damn,
it's like my fire trucks. But Darian, we do have something coming up in the show here to kind of talk about too. So
yes, that's right. That's right. Yes, sir. We are now. Oh, wait, hold on. No, I was about to say the wrong thing. Yes, the TV ratings. The TV ratings. Yes, we had a very. I almost did it there. Caught myself.
Jarrett was setting you up for that one. He had you going on.
Very interesting.
Well, no, I thought we were heading that way too. Because when has Darian ever said like the TV ratings?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, well,
he brings it up a lot. It's interchangeable.
Sometimes. From time to time. Yeah, we switch it up sometimes. I'm cool with it. But yeah, no, the TV rating's very interesting, to say the least.
So a 1.67 rating with 2.838 million viewers. Viewership, not good compared to last year. Down 16% from 2022. Flat with 2021. Down 4% from the 2019 Brickyard, which was the last Brickyard run. Now that one was also, I believe, against NFL opening Sunday. So that's not good either. Ratings were down 19% from last year. The median age for viewers was about 63 years old, which compared to NFL preseason games averaged up, which was about 55 to 56. Little on the older side, but still compared to sports, actually closer than NASCAR's been in a little while to the NFL. They usually had been about 11 years older in median age. But that's more, I think, the NFL's median age going up than anything. We're steady here. We're going steady. Important to note, though, the Cup race was done an hour before the window was done. Usually the ratings get a bump up at the end. And you had, I believe, Kansas City, which is a big market, and Tulsa, which is NASCAR's, I think, on average, top one in their top 10 biggest markets. This race was totally blacked out by local NBC affiliates for preseason football.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Like, it should just go on NFL Network.
Isaac in the chat says, "Who the F cares about NFL preseason?" I think I think I saw the Hall of Fame game got like 6 or 7 million viewers this year.
I mean, I'll be honest.
That beats everything but Daytona. Like, that's crazy.
Jarrett and I's teams are playing each other this weekend, but if tickets weren't $1 million, we would have probably went and watched that soccer game instead.
Yeah, well, you guys would have. I don't watch soccer.
Okay. Me and Darian would have.
Yeah.
I'll stick to anything but soccer.
What preseason game was Tulsa showing? They don't got a team in Oklahoma.
Well, they're closer to Kansas City, I think. Is probably
Okay,
the
I guess
show.
Patrick Mahomes. You're right. That makes sense.
Yeah, and no, listen, I get the people are like, it's just preseason, but it's like the NFL owns a day of the week. Like if you don't understand that, you're living under a rock. But to add to kind of what isn't good about it being even with 2021 was 2 weeks earlier, which on average is actually higher for NASCAR and doesn't go against preseason football. So overall, this was not a good look. Road course racing is routinely the lowest watched racing now. It has actually surpassed finally short track racing for the lowest watched racing in NASCAR, which I know blows people's minds. And outside of the Chicago street course, that trend is continuing to nosedive, which is probably why NASCAR is bringing back the Brickyard. Probably gonna, in the next couple of years, bring back the Charlotte Oval in the playoffs instead of the Roval. Do other things, movements like that. But overall, after, honestly, a couple great weeks, all things considered in ratings, not what we had probably hoped for. But it happens, it's not the end of the world. But we do have one other thing now that Darian, I know, will lead us into.
There we go. And it's time for the poll, the famous Iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. My brain for a second wanted to say the lightning round, so that happens sometimes. But anyways, let's go over the famous Iceberg poll ratings. 29% of you thought this was a great race. 47% thought it was a good one, with a net positivity rating of 76%. Race Hail, praise Dale. 76 career wins. 16% of you thought it was average. What?
Darren, you're just doing your own show over here.
Keep going.
Race Hail, praise
Just
Dale.
keep going.
All right.
Keep going. You got it.
I'm in my own world today.
You got it.
4% thought it was below average. 3% thought it was bad, leaving a net negative positivity or net negativity rating of 7%. Oh my gosh. All right. What did the comments say? Jesus Christ.
You're like me at the grocery store. I get like a receipt back
I'm
and
flustered.
it's like $3, as your change or something like that.
You know what it is? It's his motorcycle. It won't shut up. It's throwing me
I'll
off.
just under my breath just go praise Hail, praise Dale. What? I'm like, oh, nothing. Thank you. Have a nice day.
I don't know. Something about the 76. Wanted to say something.
That was the first thing that my girlfriend told me when we started dating. When I told her I like NASCAR, she's like, "Race Hail, praise Dale." I'm like, "All right,
hey, there you go. There you go.
That's pretty great. That's special right there."
But the first comment, and Danny had tipped me off on this one. I'm not reading even the full name. I'm just Shugs.
Shugs.
That guy right there.
What is he looking at? What is bro staring at?
He's staring at the demons. Well, Shugs.
You're on the air, Shugs.
Yeah. Shugs, you're in front of over 600 people. Say hi.
Yes. And make sure to click the like button. We're halfway to 400. Click the like button.
Oh, yeah, that's right. If we hit 400, I'll put 100 extra on the NWP 400. We'll talk about it.
Hello, you wanted to talk to me? I'm the big guy.
Oh,
all right.
my God.
Well, Shugs,
like a snowball.
Did Shugs leave a positive comment, a negative comment, or a meme? And I am not reading this fully the way it is because I'm going to sound like a creep.
Oh.
I see. You're going to take some liberties, I see.
I'll take a little liberty.
Here, you know what? As Shug's father, I don't mind reading this.
Go for it. I'm not getting this clipped. What do you guys think? Positive, negative, or meme?
Negative.
Positive.
Shugs B. Meow said, "Hello, Daddy. Did I hear correctly that McDonald's won that big square box track?"
Oh, my gosh. That's it.
I'm
not gonna lie. I read the replies. He literally wrote H and then edited it. He cheated.
Oh wow! We got a cheater.
So
he did one letter and edited it.
All right, I'll have to in the future delete edited comments that started out so we can be a little more fair. But there were some other comments here, starting out with Blowed 72 Productions, who said, "This was pure proof that we don't need a bunch of crashing and cautions to have a good race. This isn't the greatest of all time, but it was a very solid one."
Indeed.
Yeah.
Alessandro says, "After seeing McDowell win again, better yet, it came on a non-super speedway race. Great job all around. The 34 is playoff bound. 2 thumbs up." And Danny's went off the grid.
Yeah.
No, no, it's that stupid glitch that when I put the headphones in.
Oh, yeah.
Well, looking at some of the other comments here, Ethan says, it's so refreshing to me to see long runs with no stage cautions. And that's a big part a lot of people put too. A lot of people talk about McDowell dominating, and I love this because the movement is growing. McDowell supremacy is everywhere.
Hey, got the win finally, or got his second win. Yeah,
McDowell mania.
Yeah, and he's also won. I mean, he's won at only Daytona and Indy, so that's a pretty good exclusive wins list. Though.
Even when he's not the first comment, Spencer Purcell gets his comment read. 2022 Logano, want to see me dive bomb into turn one on a restart? 2023 Logano, want to see me do it again?
He did not learn one bit.
Okay, can I just say this? Oh, there goes Danny. Well, can I just say this? Logano, all 3 years in some way looked like one of the biggest idiots out there.
Mm-hmm. He was one of the first to, I mean, he hit the tire barriers harder than anyone else in 21.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That wasn't his fault, though, but that was not his fault.
Yeah.
The last year at the dive bomb, that was on him. And then this year, not enough people are talking about him just door slamming Justin Haley on lap 2. Like, I mean,
oh yeah, that's right.
I don't know. That's like, you know, drivers who have distinct driving styles. Joey Logano, he's the kind of guy who's going to force his way anywhere, anytime. And that's why he deserves to get called out when it goes wrong.
Oh yeah. In the first 6 laps, he freaking wreaked havoc on the whole field. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, looking at some of these other comments as we go down, we got Dexter saying nice clean race. Probably would have been better in person, but at least it wasn't last year's mess. Penske Cup wearing a 34 jersey today. I was a proud fan of McDowell. Go 34. Scrolling down a little bit more, a ton of people loving the long run in this race, and we didn't know it at the time when it came out, but we really were so close to a caution-free race.
We were.
I feel like that's a full fields version of like a perfect game. Mm-hmm. And I want to see it so bad. Like when at Sonoma, when we were over halfway without a caution, like I remember I was sitting in the garage with my grandpa, and him and I are both like, oh my God, it could happen. Like this could actually, like this, it's like when you get past, like once you get to the 5th inning, like towards like the end of it, and you're like, this is actually
yeah, hold on.
Interesting.
Like, don't say anything. Don't jinx. Damn. More McDowell supremacy. Let's get down to the gutter comments. I want to see what the gutter's saying this week.
Here we go.
My God. It's just, I literally scrolled, and at one point it's just McDowell supremacy, like over and over and over again. Let's see. Can't read that one. I'm not going to read the Odyssey. Coleslaw custard here. I don't know, man. A lot of people saying this race was great. Well, it's average, not going to lie. Not 2017 NASCAR boring, but somewhat boring nonetheless.
Okay.
Cody says the race was a snoozer. Only race that was worse this year was the All-Star race. Well, yeah, I guess.
Oh, wow. Oh,
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
Bring back the stage caution, says Cody Bennett. And then WMRRA says, bring back stage cautions. This was a boring race. The field needs to be back together every once in a while.
Dude, man, this is what stages did, y'all. Thanks a lot, NASCAR. This is what stages does to the fan base, man.
Poisons our minds.
Yeah, for real, man. He's like, he just said to bunch up the field here. I'm like, that's not. Whatever, man.
Whatever. Well, that is the poll.
And that'll conclude this edition of the famous Iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
Now, we had 2 other races, and I think that they can be a little more simple to talk about here. Xfinity race on Saturday, and a bit of a rain delay, and then also the truck race on Friday, which had a little bit more storylines, but both I think a lot of people considered those 2 the dull races, honestly. But go and do Xfinity. Eric, I want you to talk about this one. You got this one right.
My Friday and Saturday night were going good. Chat, y'all were shaking. I nailed my pick for the Xfinity race. Again, I sound like such a hater now, but Allmendinger just doesn't seem to have that spark. So I went with Ty Gibbs, and Ty Gibbs was easily the fastest car. He had to come through the field a little bit here and there, but I mean, Ty Gibbs, I think this was his first Xfinity win of the year, and he's made 6 or 7 starts. So I was a little worried for him, but guys in the middle of a playoff, fight in the Cup Series, this gives them a little added confidence. But no, I thought the race was great. I was reminded watching this race, why are we at the Indy Road Course with Cup, with all these series? It was because of that Xfinity race 4 years ago that had one of the greatest 3-4 car battles for the win of all time. So, don't forget where it started. It was the Xfinity series that got us here. Exactly. So, it was fun to watch their race.
He plainly outdrove Allmendinger in this. So there's no other way around it. He ran him down. He outdrove him. Allmendinger, I think, finished third. So
yeah. Now, I want to ask you all this. There were some people complaining about his post celebratory burnout because I guess he was doing it with other cars going by. I mean, is that fair or foul? Like, Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, it's just his Ty Gibbs has always suffered from a lack of self-awareness. I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
And in this case, it was both self and
stupid.
It was both self and spatial awareness. Like, the field was spread out. It's a narrow track. It's just dumb. Like, nothing bad ultimately happened, but it was dumb. Like,
it's Ty Gibbs' world. We just live in it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Ty, he might get us, but Ty does not. But going over from the Xfinity side, the Truck Series race happened, and Ty Majeski put on a damn clinic. I mean, they just flat out dominated this race. I want to say there's
made up for Richmond.
Yeah, I want to say there's stuff to talk about, but it's really just redemption for Ty Majeski.
Is he made it to the championship 4 last year, right? Is he the championship favorite now? Do you think he's got something for Zane? Has he got something like
I wouldn't call him a favorite just yet.
I mean, the past couple the past couple of races for him. I mean, it's looking good right now.
The past couple of races.
Wait, wasn't it March?
Or no,
wasn't it?
Shorter tracks.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he's got Milwaukee coming up, not this weekend, but next. And the last race of the season, if he makes it in there, is Phoenix, which is a shorter track. I'd say I'd put him loosely. I think it's like him, Zane, and Heim time up there.
Yeah, I think that's probably your top 3.
Yeah, Zane's been a tad bit off. Like, I mean, they were able to adjust the truck, and I think he finished top 5 or at least top 10, though.
Yeah, he's distracted by his Cup negotiations for next year.
Maybe that's it. I mean, were there any other notable playoff guys like that were running outside the top 10? I can't really think of any.
No, I think like the lowest ones was it Benedetto was like 12th or 14th. He was like mediocre, but
so they're right up there. They're right sort of around each other.
I will also bring this up just to bring it up. SVG did come home 19th. He got lapped like right at the end.
Yeah,
and it's amazing. Right at the end of us talking about the weekend, the fire trucks start going by. Wonderful.
Yeah, but I just feel like that's proof that, like, look, you had brought this up last week, Jared, that you thought SVG was overhyped. And to some extent, I did too. It's like, yeah, he's a road course ace, but, guys, that's his job. I mean, that's his thing. You know what I mean? But ovals is a much different story. So he has a long way to go with that.
Yeah. He at as high as like 14th, I saw. I predicted he'd finish 14th, so I was a little off. He ended up 19th. But I think he did well. He seemed to come away excited, like ready for more, ready to keep learning. So I think it was a successful outing, even though, it wasn't a fantastic result by any means. I mean, keep in mind, one niche truck missed the race. So for him to finish 19th, not terrible.
Not bad. I liked his post-race interview. Like the lady asked him, so what would you grade yourself? And then he replies, "Oh, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't grade this."
He seems like such a vibe just to be around.
Yeah. He seems to be embracing the American culture as well too. He was at Applebee's, probably fought, avoided Mike Harmon, of course. But,
I like how they had the video of him getting thrown out of an Applebee's.
Oh,
and then what was it? He said he talked to Marcus Ambrose, which I brought this up before, but it's Marcus Ambrose, not Marcos. He was just too nice to correct everybody. That was the actual story. But I guess he talked to Marcus.
I actually didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
And asked him like, what did you think of your time in NASCAR and in America? And he's like, best time of my life, the most fun I've ever had in my life. Do it as quick as you can.
Yeah. That was very interesting to hear.
So come on over, man. Like, the more the merrier.
Heck, bring Ambrose back with you. He can be your driver coach.
I was just about to say, or no, bring him back so he can they can race. Why
Ambrose left like 5 years too early.
I know.
Could you imagine?
He's ahead of his time. He's ahead of his time.
But just Okay, I want to last thing I'll bring up about Indy. If anyone else wants to bring anything up, bring it up. I love the resurrection of the road course ringer.
Oh, me too. It's
I know.
great.
My
It's great.
dumbass like said 6 months ago that the road course ringer was dying out, and then what happens? Button, Kobayashi, SVG, all these dudes start showing up. I'm like, wait, where did this come from?
Ambrose should just come back. He's only 46.
Yeah. Hey, why not, man? Hey, might as well. Oh, and also one funny story from Indy involving Kobayashi. So there's a reason he was like spinning all over the place. He did not test in the next gen car prior to to this race. So there's a reason.
I don't think Brody Kostecki get any seat time either. I don't think
probably not.
Well, no, I could have sworn. I mean, I could be wrong. I could have sworn I saw something where he was like the only road course guy to not get at least minimal testing. I could be wrong on that, but
I think that's correct. SVG got a test, and I thought Kobayashi did get a test.
I thought Matt Weaver. I could have sworn I saw.
I think it was. I think Kobayashi did get a test like a few months ago or weeks ago. I think Kostecki is the one you're thinking of. I mean, they're both K. I think it was Kostecki is the one who got no seat time.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, I still think it's funny because you're a road course guy. You haven't raced the next gen, so whoever it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did test.
Yeah,
okay,
Peter in the chat says he did at VIR.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh yeah, but Luigi in the chat reminds us. Yeah, Kostecki has done sim work for RCR, which I didn't know until this weekend.
Okay.
So he's at least done simulator stuff.
But yeah, no, bring Marcus Ambrose back though. Come on, man, come back.
Yeah, I think we've had worse Indianapolis weekend, so I close the book on that. And guys, we're actually at the hour mark.
Ooh.
Let's get into the first super chat stage break. Somebody
I got a timer.
Yeah, you time me. Let's read some of these super chats here. Isaac, thank you for the $2 super chat. Bigger career rebuild, McDowell or Allmendinger? I mean, to be fair, Allmendinger was out of the sport for a while.
Yeah, he was in a Penske car and then was out of the sport.
Yeah, it was
but like
suspended.
McDowell raced for JGR at one point, didn't he?
He raced for JGR and
was it part-time?
Xfinity.
It was a very, very part-time.
Yeah,
it was really part-time.
He filled in for Kyle Busch at 2011.
That was a couple races.
And then he had a couple like maybe a handful of RCR Xfinity races.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But I will say, I mean, being a start and park for 7 years and now being a dominating winner, that's pretty damn impressive.
Come a long way.
I give it to McDowell. A little bit.
NASCAR Sun 2414, thank you for the 5. Jarrett, the figure 8 trailer race at the Rockford Speedway was awesome. Veteran McDowell supremacy proved that front row made the right call and keep in the short term, yes. But yeah,
you had to put that in.
No, I still think I made the right call.
I know.
In the short term, yes, but letting Zane go was a mistake.
I agree there.
As for the trailer race of destruction, I love that it'll be preserved on YouTube, hopefully forever. Antar Das, thank you for the 5. Classics need to be like F1 TV with races and qualifying. This is huge. NASCAR W. Also, we can logically have a debate on what past racing was better now.
Yeah. The footage is there. Do your homework.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, no lies here. Yeah, footage don't lie.
Go back to 70s races at Darlington. The racing was amazing until the engine issues came in. That's what really spread them out.
And also,
to be fair, though, NASCAR's picked out the 75 best races, so you're going to see the best of those eras. That might skew the data a little.
And also, I think, if it's on here, early 1980s Pocono, that was pretty crazy.
Well, let's get to a few more of these super chats here. Elite Precision 29, thank you for the 10. What up, guys? Just want to congratulate you all on the success and continuing to improve your quality every year. Keep up the great work and don't change who you all are because you guys are good people. Well, you're pretty good too. I've watched your stuff. I like it.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. So much. Thank you. Wait, who sent that super chat?
Elite Precision 29.
Oh, I've seen his videos. Yeah. What's up, bro? Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Jimmy Leos, thank you for 2 $5 super chats. First one is, hi guys, happy anniversary for your YouTube channel, Eric.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
12 years, right?
Yep, senior citizen. Yep.
It can ride in the front seat now.
I think I made it to 5th grade. About to graduate elementary.
And then Jimmy also says, good luck, Darian, for the racing the NWP 400 next Tuesday night, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Well,
You're
that's if
gonna
I make
need
it. That's if I make it. I gotta make it first. Friday, gotta make it.
Then we got Isaiah Halt with the $10 super chat. Alex Bowman top 5. Alex Bowman top 5. Thank God him and his team actually finished the job and got the finish they deserved for once in the past month now.
That is true. He's been getting screwed over a lot here lately.
And then this member chat here from Spencer being a member for 25 months. And he left me, counting it up, 20 bananas.
Wow, that's a whole bushel.
Yep. Gia NASCAR fan, thank you for the 5. Love the classic races, but I'm slightly disappointed that there's no original MRN audio race broadcast, which NASCAR owns, to sync up to the video.
That would have been next level if they'd added that, though.
I mean, just the fact that they have this is a good start.
MRN used to have classic races played, and it got swiped off the internet, I think, or at least a lot of it did. Cousin Rowdy, thank you for the 2. Random year and track, go. 2007 Watkins Glen.
1984 Nashville Fairgrounds.
1979 North Wilkesboro.
2007 Daytona.
I remember that one.
CBB, thank you for the 10. Can one of y'all explain how Ford's the third best out of the 3 OEMs, and yet the Blue Ovals have won the most recent championship, most recent 3 races, and have the most playoff drivers currently?
You know, that's a good question. That is a good question.
Do they have the most? I guess they got 2 RFK, front row, 2 Penske, 1 SHR. Okay. Yeah. I guess I just, parity. They're all very close.
Yeah.
By the way, you're at almost 5 minutes, Jared. I just want to let you know.
Well, we'll end out on this one from Gavin here for 2. Going to the Bristol night race, do you guys have any tips? My biggest one, you don't have to buy everything from it, but go to all the merch tents, just because the stuff you will see, even if you don't buy it, is so cool.
Give yourself an extra 2 to 3 hours more than you think you would, because you want to look at everything.
Yeah. Do they still have that like close free parking lot for Toyotas?
They do. If you have a Toyota, drive it, you'll get free parking.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll still be there this year, but it used to be.
Even if you don't have a Toyota, it's like $20 and so close. Even when I've had media, the parking they give media is awful. Way back behind the drag strip, I just paid a $20 and I go park there.
Yeah, and also climb the fence whenever you can.
What?
Don't do that. No, we do not condone this message.
Yeah, let's move away from that and go on to what we got up next. And well, there's not too much around here, but there was a bit of storms earlier this week.
Yes, there was. It's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jared, what do we have on tap for tonight?
A little bit more of a meaty lightning round this week here. Kyle Larson has announced the schemes now for his 500-600 double, and he'll be running the number 17 in the Indy 500. So
I like that cup car too. That should be his new primary for 36.
Maybe you change the orange out for red, but that should be the primary.
I do think it needs just a tad bit more orange, though. Just a little bit.
Let's just run him in a Tennessee Balls car, all orange.
No.
There you go.
No. Max Pappas is in the process of finding a new ride for 2024 Cup road courses. He announced it on Twitter that he's been working on it for a bit, and Max Pappas might come back.
I didn't expect that. He's just been kind of like a driver coach here lately.
Yeah, for Hendrick, I believe.
Oh, he also he operates his own steering wheel company. Yeah,
that's right.
I think that's
I told this story on the podcast probably in like season 1, but in like 5th grade, my school did like NASCAR points where every kid in the class picked a driver and earned some level of points depending on how they did throughout the season. But it wasn't my class; it was my friend's class. And my friend asked me who I should pick, and I was like, "Oh, pick Matt Kenseth, pick Jimmy Johnson, pick whoever." And he comes back to me the next day. I picked Max Pappas because he was in the Geico car.
No,
and I said, "Oh, you're gonna struggle, my boy. I'm so sorry."
Oh man. Well, that is a struggle.
Sorry. I think I shared that story a few years ago. It's been a while.
I don't think you did.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I don't remember it.
Let's move forward here. NASCAR is going to be spending Even more on their college marketing now with the University of Alabama, and they have a new deal with the University of South Carolina and other athlete deals to come promote races like the one they had with Livy Dunn at the Nashville Super Speedway, according to Adam Stern. So that's big for NASCAR. Now, big for motorsports is that motorsports is now being considered to possibly be a 2028 Olympic sport, according to Sports Illustrated.
That's going to piss off traditional sports fans.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
screw them.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Screw them. We don't get these
Let's
wins over them.
go. We've been asking this for years.
But before that happens, can we please make the half marathon an Olympic sport? It is one of the toughest races to ever run.
That'd be cool.
And it's so different than a marathon. Anyway, that going off a tangent. There's a new NASCAR Arcade Rush game to be released on September 15th, not by Motorsport Games, and probably better than that.
Probably actually works.
Yeah. Looks like it does. The new NASCAR Classics we talked about has opened up with the old races on it, so definitely check that out. And then we have the NWP 400 next Tuesday, August 22nd on IDK Players channel. We're all involved, whether I'm the one that's commentating. If Darian makes it, he'll be racing. Danny and Eric in the chat probably can give their picks too. I think we can make that work. And the duels are this Friday, where me and John will be commentating. And I actually have the procedures for the duels really quick for you.
It's pretty entertaining. It'll be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, there's
for sure.
63 entrants right now, and top 4 in qualifying make it in. 2 duels get 16 more apiece in, and then a last chance qualifier get 4 more in for a 40-car field. The duels are based off the old Gatorade Twin 125s, and the last chance qualifier is based off the old Clash, and then 160 laps is based off of real Daytona. Gen 6 going to be a ton of fun. I cannot wait for that one. And like I said, I think earlier, if we get to 400 likes tonight, which we are getting close to, close for being halfway through, I'll add 100 more to the already $500 winners pool that might even grow on John's end too with some of the fun stuff we have planned. So going to be a ton of fun.
I like what Spencer Purcell said, watch Darian not even make it in.
Hey, Blue Jimmy's got my back though, so we'll be good.
No pressure.
It'll be good.
It's going to be tough. That is a tough field, man. But that is going to do it for the lightning round this week. It's fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. And that'll conclude. Oh, go ahead.
Actually, Claudia just sent me a last minute addition to the lightning round.
Oh, okay.
Brad Keselowski and family announced they're having a baby boy.
Oh,
Brad's
nice.
not alone.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. But there. Yes, and that'll conclude this edition of the Famous Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
All right, we mentioned it a little earlier. I'm not going to bury this any more than we have to. It came out today from, Insider Gaming reporter, I believe, Mike Straw, that reports that NASCAR and their exclusivity deal with Motorsport Games is basically dead. And as of September 30th, will be no more. And that it's been in the works a long time, which I think all of us in some degree have known about or at least assumed about. But it looks like NASCAR is working possibly to have multiple companies produce NASCAR games and maybe even stray away from exclusivity deals. So I'd say when it comes to NASCAR gaming, this either is going to just be, a blip in the radar, or this could be the major turning point to bringing console gaming back for a lot of fans to at least a respectable level. So, Danny, I'll lead off with you. Like, who would you want, or what would you want even from a new NASCAR game?
At this point, I don't know if there's anyone I could say that I want. I think it's very clear. We just want a working game that is just fun. Hey, it's been a long day at work. Go upstairs, ding, PlayStation, come on, and I'm racing. Yeah, this feels fun. Go into career mode. Oh, this is such a blast. I'll start my team. Just do stuff like that. That's just I think we talked about this. What got a lot of us to like NASCAR more was video games, and I want kids to have that same experience. No disrespect to us, but I feel like there's a lot of kids who can get to a sport through YouTube these days, whereas we got into it through video games. And, I think it should be equally with the video games now, because what they have today is just crap. It's just straight up crap. And I'm torn. We all have friends who have worked with motorsports games. Don't want to say them specifically, but some of them have done good at their specifically assigned jobs. The problem is the people who have been above them that have not been making the right calls on this whole project from the get-go, and it's led us to this mess that we're in now with NASCAR console games. And at this point, just want someone who cares about it again. That's all I want. I want someone who cares about the product, not as much on the bottom dollar. If you pay attention to my channel, start up another channel, because there's a game that I like to play called Trains, and I like it because the company behind it just cares about the overall product and making it fun for people who want to construct virtual model railroads. And it's just a fun gaming experience every time I get on it. That's what I want. I want someone who cares about it as much as that company cares for that product. That's what I want. I want someone who cares.
Yeah, I just want someone who's competent. I think motorsport games, I think some of the people there care deeply about making a great racing game. At this point, I'm convinced they just either didn't know how or didn't have the resources to, and that's inexcusable. Because they also didn't make money. So they may want to make that bottom line work, but that obviously didn't work for long. So I don't have like a developer or a company in mind. But to echo what Danny said, realistic NASCAR games on console are what really, I think, helped me learn the sport faster than anything else. That's what really turned me from a casual to a big NASCAR fan. And not having that the past couple of years, at least not a competently made functional game, is a huge loss. You mentioned it earlier, Jarrett, the average age or the median age for the TV audience for Indianapolis this past weekend was in the mid 60s. There's nothing wrong with that, but at some point you do need younger eyeballs to take over. You need a younger audience. You need them to make up a larger share of the whole viewer base, and a good operating console game will help accomplish that. So I'm hopeful, whether it's a non-exclusive deal, if they have multiple people making a video game, almost like a trial run, like a tryout, that's great. If they do go exclusive, just don't cheap out on it. Don't go with someone who's unproven with no track record. Find somebody, hopefully, that's proven they know how to make competent games that we can rely on, because it's been a rough few years.
And it's not to circle back, but I saw someone say on Twitter that NASCAR themselves should just get their own production company in-house. I don't want that either, because I know what they would do. They would go cheap, and we'd probably have the same people who worked on motorsports games.
And also, have they ever made a video game? That's what I mean. You need someone with a proven track record. You need a proven company, if at all possible.
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's exclusive or not. Yeah, at this point, I want an established company, man. And forget all these freaking starter up ones. And it's just crazy. When EA Sports left towards the end, we were like, oh, can't get any worse. When Technics left, can't get any worse. When 704 left, can't get any worse. And what do you know it? We are in a similar situation. Oh, it can't get any worse with MSG, right? Hey, never say never, man. That's what I've learned over the years.
This is the lowest it's ever been.
Yeah, exactly. But again, just when you think it can't get any lower, it just gets lower and lower and lower.
What I want is a clear plan. Like what we saw with motorsport games for the last 2 or so years was where they would have plans ready to go, put out roadmaps, and they never were able really to follow up on them or hit the dates that they wanted. And I think maybe some of that was resources. I know there are a lot of people there that are very competent who were put in a bad position. If you look at any of the reviews from people who have worked there, it's pretty clear it was the top people, not the people that were working there. I will say this. I am completely fine with like one NASCAR game every 2, 3, 4, 5 years. If it's a competently made NASCAR game that can be updated, that we don't have to pay through the roof for paint schemes, that we probably could make in a a paint booth. I'm fine if we don't get a NASCAR console game until 2027. If it means the one we get is at least competent. I'd say if it's just to the level, maybe not the same way to drive or anything like that, but if it's just to the level of like NASCAR Heat 4, which I thought was honestly a decent game. If it starts out like that and then builds upon itself from there, that I am completely fine with that, because that you have something of substance to go off of.
I also think go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, you go first, Darren.
Oh, thank you, Garrett. Appreciate it. But no, I think also too, it's like, since there is just so much distrust within the community, whoever takes over needs to be upfront right away. Like, hey, this is our detailed plan, every single detail laid out there and stuff. So you let the public know, you let the fan base know, like, hey, like, this is what the plan is or whatever, because MSG kept giving us, the runaround and all this stuff. They weren't really saying much or whatever, and, going ghost. So I don't want that to happen again.
I hate it because Ignition had a base that if they had time to work on resources, like if you could play it alone, not around cars that were screwing up or people that were idiots, like there was something that could have been made from that. And that's the sad part to me.
There were parts of it that I thought someone tried with this. The way they presented it before you ever got in the car looked really good. And the fact that in the practice mode, there was that part where you could drive into the garage. They had plans to do more of that, but just it got yanked all over the place. It felt like it got rushed in the first game. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're not going to make a game this year. Next year comes around. Yeah, we're not going to make a game this year. And at that point, I don't want to mention too many names, but you talk about they had a plan. Communications department was always good at communicating those plans. They really were. They all did a fantastic job in that. I know someone who was involved in the making sure the paint schemes look good on the cars. Did a good job with that, in my opinion. And whoever created the paint scheme development tool in that did a solid job with that. But just so many parts of it wasn't finished, and I just don't think that the upper management cared if it was finished or not.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I want you kind of, I guess, close us out on this one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. My only thing that jumped out at me was Do Chronic in the chat made the comment, like, it is hard to make money on a NASCAR game. Again, it is a niche audience. Like Madden, NBA 2K, they can put a new game out every year because there's millions of fans just in this country, millions of young fans just in this country. There's like 1 million young NASCAR fans maybe in this country, and so it is hard. Like, I think you said this, Jared, if they put a game out every 3 years and they're just able to update the paint schemes, like that might be the most, cost efficient is the right way to phrase it, but that might be the best way to do it. That's just something to keep in mind of. Like, I don't want to, I think as fans, we're begging at this point. We're begging for a competent game, but I guess at the same time, we can't really choose. Beggars can't be choosers in the sense that we also have to keep in mind the product that we support is niche. Like it is like we trashed NASCAR Heat for having, previous generation graphics. I don't know the bottom line. I don't know how well these games all sold, but that might be all they could afford. Like, I'll just be completely honest. Like to expect a Forza quality NASCAR game just may not be realistic. I don't know. So I keep my expectations tempered, I guess, as much as I possibly can.
Well, I think that about covers it. What would you guys think?
Oh, yeah. I think, Eric said it's very niche. I think it's so niche that we're at the point where if it doesn't work out with someone who wants to make a console game that can make money off of it, might have to accept the fact that as niche as it is, and as as much money as it really costs to do the total investment, iRacing might be the only option at some point, and we might be coming into the world where we might just have to accept the fact on that. Eric mentioned other sports will be popular, even though they might have to pay out the wazoo for NIL deals. I think EA Sports' next NCAA football game, when that comes out, might be their biggest moneymaker.
Yeah. Well,
And
let's
also
let's
chat smoke on that MSG pack. There you go.
yeah, let's keep moving though. We got another thing of news coming out here. Ford, I guess, is shopping for teams. Eric, kind of lead us into this one because this is one that I think flew under the radar for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, it was very this been kind of rumored for a while. We've obviously talked about Stewart Haas. What could they do for years? Like it's always felt like even Tony Stewart, was it during the Josh Berry announcement, or I think it was during the Josh Berry announcement? He somebody asked about Ford and he said, well, that's what our contract says, so that's who we're probably going to stick with. And it was like, oh, is he being snarky, or is he like honestly like, yeah, we'll probably stay with Ford? Hard to tell. But it was door bumper clear this week. They dropped a few hints that maybe Stewart Haas, maybe Front Row. I think Brett Griffin, because he's close to them, mentioned Colleague as teams that the next year or two may be considering shopping around, looking for other manufacturers. Mentioned, I think Freddie Kraft. This is interesting because he's with 2311, who right now does not have a deal done with Toyota past this year. Mentioned that Ford is shopping around, looking for new teams to join their force. So I think a lot of this is very much hypothetical still, because we're talking a year, 2 years away, probably in most cases. But I posed the question to my audience today: who are some surprising teams you could see changing manufacturers in the next couple of years? Like Legacy Motor Club obviously is, and I think it makes sense because you're a second tier team not getting that much support from Chevy. You go to Toyota, you're now part of that big three. You'll be getting more support from Toyota Racing Development. Do other teams like Front Row, who maybe aren't getting a ton of Ford support, but are clearly doing well with what they have, is it worth the risk to completely switch manufacturers? We just saw them stick with Todd Gillen and Michael McDowell for the sake of stability. Switching manufacturers, that would disrupt that stability quite a bit. So I don't know. It's kind of an open-ended question, but are there any teams you guys can think of that, oh yeah, they should consider swapping? It would be, what's going on now isn't working. They could do better here. I mean, are there any teams that jump out at y'all?
I mean, the biggest one to me was Legacy Motor Club, but that's already been announced. So outside of them, I don't know, maybe Colleague, like they seem to be pretty low on the totem pole for Chevy teams. So maybe they might move up a few notches with Ford, perhaps.
Yeah, the Front Row one, I guess, just because we did talk that they are behind because of not being up in the pecking order at Ford. And from what we've heard about it, are increasingly exceeding expectations every step of the way. So maybe them like going to a different one, but at that point, like, who are they going to go with? Like, yeah, maybe Toyota, but they'd probably be third, maybe second if another team leaves or something happens. Chevrolet, I don't think they would be top five. So I don't really see it. I think that they should, most of these teams I think should be set where they are right now at this point and ride it out a few years.
Yeah,
It's kind of how it feels.
I'm just not convinced there's anyone that makes total sense to just need to go right now. Because I'm scared, like you mentioned, Colleague, they go to somewhere else. I'm scared they're going to be right around the same in the pecking order wherever they go. So I just don't know if anyone makes sense right now.
I like
It'd be risky.
I like.
Yeah, the chat has a ton of suggestions. I was just gonna say it's risky to make any big changes now before the charter agreement and mixed media rights deal.
And also too, it seems like I mean, it seems like a little bit late. Yeah, a little bit late to be doing that.
Like it makes more sense honestly in lower series and it doesn't cup like we just saw Sport go back to Ford because Haley come over and she carries a lot of Ford support, but not in the Cup series. I just don't see anything that makes sense there.
No.
Okay.
But I think that pretty much covers it, guys. We do have one more segment before we head on over to Watkins Glen, and that is our top 75 that we have left here. And we are going from 10th through 6th. We're getting the back half of the top 10 this week. And leading off,
crunch time.
Yes, it's going to, I think these are the ones this week. I think early on we might shock people or have people disagree, but I think it's next week too that is really gonna shake it up.
Yeah, I think so too.
But this next guy is a member of one of the biggest families in all of racing history. He's a pioneer driver, a multi-time champion. We'll get to how many in a moment, because I want to talk all about it. But he's also the father of one of the greatest drivers ever as well. 10th place is Lee Petty. which we were very consistent on. Darian has him 10th. The rest of us, including the chat, have him 11th.
Oh, wow.
Lee Petty as number 10 all time. And Darian, don't go too far into his accolades, but give me kind of a reason as to why you would put him top 10 where the rest of us put him a little bit below.
He was one of NASCAR's original heroes, and he left a lot on the table. I'll just leave it at that. I'll let you explain the whole deal there.
Okay, I'm just confused of how Malak in the chat didn't have him on his list at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
He's a 3-time champion. He won the first ever Daytona 500. I mean, those are just numbers that jump out at you, or accolades, I guess you could say, that jump out at you immediately. And then you mentioned, I mean, he won his championships in the 50s, so he was a true pioneer those early years of NASCAR. And everyone says, the Pettys were kind of the first family to learn how to make a living racing.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of those guys back in the day were moonshine runners, were who knows what, first, racers second. The Petty family, led in many ways by Lee, were able to reverse that. They were able to make a living being great at racing, and that obviously kind of initially established the model we see today.
Well, and looking at his accomplishments too, 54 career wins, 7.6 career average finish, and he never finished lower than 6th in points in any of his full-time seasons from 49 to 1960. But I think a story that really encapsulates how much of a badass Lee Petty was is one that, Darian, you can explain because you did a video on. And I can talk about another one, but you talk about that one, and I'll talk about the one between him and Richard.
Oh my gosh. Tulsa, Oklahoma. I can't remember what year it was, but during a race, there was a major dust storm. And for some reason, they decided to keep the race going. And then all of a sudden, Lee Petty just had enough. And he parks his car on freaking pit road, runs across the track to the flag stand while the race is still going on, by the way, which means not only was he crossing a freaking active track in a dust storm, but, he could barely see and stuff. And then he just yanks the flag from the flag stand and waves it. Race is over. So he ended the race.
The one that I think of with him is the first win ever for Richard Petty. Richard Petty gets his first win, is celebrating, kind of knows that it might be a little iffy, and it's his father, Lee Petty, who contests the race, claims that they misplaced him by a lap, complains and complains and complains, just chews out the ear of the official. They place Petty to the back of the lead lap, third, Richard Petty. Lee Petty wins, and he later would say, I would DQ my mother or my wife for a win.
That's what's up. That's
I
like
insane.
that. I like that. Actually. I
crazy.
like that, bro. I like that. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The Lee Petty, the reason, I have him 11th is he's honestly one of the biggest what-if stories in the history of NASCAR, because his career ended right when NASCAR was becoming what NASCAR would become.
Exactly.
He won the very first Daytona 500. That's correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 3 days later. Yes.
He beat 3 days later. He beat Johnny Beauchamp. The next year, him and Johnny Beauchamp involved in an accident in qualifying that ultimately ends his career. And if that hadn't happened, the focus of the team maybe would not have went to Richard Petty like it did.
No, yeah.
And if that never happens, Lee Petty probably has a better career. Richard, maybe not as much.
And I don't think Richard Petty has 200 wins for sure.
Lee would have protested a few more of Richard's.
Well,
but yeah, that's a huge what if.
Yeah.
Moving from one guy who would do anything to win to another more modern guy, the only modern driver we will talk about today. This guy is a multi-time Cup champion as well, has a few more wins actually than Lee Petty, is one of the dominant drivers of a decade even. That's none other than Kyle Rowdy Busch. We have placed 9th on our lists. And we have a bit more disparity with our choices here. Eric in the chat have him 8th. I have him 10th. Darian 12th. And Danny 13th. So I want to ask Danny, who had him the lowest, why Kyle Busch in 13th?
I honestly can't tell you why. It's probably just because of where he fell into the wins list, if I'm being honest. But now to think about it, I think we overall we've averaged him correctly, I think. But Kyle Busch, not a knock at him by any means. It's where I put him at. I guess, you know,
but it is a knock. You didn't have him in the top 10.
I didn't have him either.
I did.
I think Kyle Busch is easily a top 10 driver. I mean, he is the winningest driver in NASCAR history. I know it's not as, well, you could argue it is more impressive than what Richard Petty did, but it's not 200 Cup wins. But he is the winningest driver in NASCAR history.
Okay, but this list is for Cup Series only.
There you go.
Yes, that's fair. Well, he's got more wins than Lee Petty.
So in this case, I have him as a 13th best Cup Series driver of all time.
Yeah, I felt like he was like, and remember, we did this list at the very beginning of the season, and we did. And yeah, so like maybe if I were to have done it now, definitely top 10 for sure.
I think. Go ahead, Jared. I'm sorry.
Go for it. No, it's all good.
Well, I think you have to put him top 10 for the basic reasons I had before. I mean, the era. There was a stretch there in the mid 2010s, and I'm talking like a 5-6 year stretch probably where. Like he was the most feared, like after Jimmy did his run of 5 straight championships. I know he cheesed out a couple more at the end there. But like kind of in between those runs, Kyle Busch was the guy. Like he was the most feared driver in NASCAR. He's a 2-time champion. He's the, let me correct me if I'm wrong. He is right now still the only, I guess Logano, Busch and Logano are the only 2-time champions since they went to a knockout round format. So Kyle, but I just think, you dominate an era. And granted, it was maybe a 5-6 year stretch, but still, how many decades has NASCAR been around? 7, 8. Mm-hmm. Kyle Busch was the dominant driver for a decade.
Yep,
he should be the top 8, top 9.
He was the winningest driver of the 2010s with 41 wins. And looking at some of these so 41 of his 63 career wins, which is insane to say, came between 2010 and 2019, and to be honest with you, that was really more between 2015 and 2019, which are the years he qualified consecutively for the Final Four. He's been a winner of the Southern 500, twice for the Brickyard, won the Coke 600. He was the first driver in NASCAR Cup Series history who won on every track he competed on from, I believe, like 2005 to 2019 or 20. Qualified for the Chase and playoffs 16 times. 13 of them were top 10 points finishes. So Kyle Busch, I think, I put him top 10. And I think, and so did Eric in the chat. I think he deserves to be there, and he very easily could make his way up to maybe knocking on the door of that top, 8, 6, maybe knocking on the door of the top 5. But Kyle
it's going to
Busch,
tough. Yeah, it's going to be tough to break into that Bobby Allison, Daryl Waltrip sort of bracket where they have
still some space.
They get to like Daryl Waltrip with 84 wins, I think, and
or 85.
Is he at 85? Yeah.
Okay, I might have had Kyle Busch 13th, but I'm a little confused as the two people in our chat, Dark C29 and Malak, both had no Lee Petty on their list, but had KFB number 1.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Recency bias.
Okay.
But that is our 9th place pick, Kyle Busch. Now, our next pick is one of those guys we did talk about. He is one of those 3 drivers that has, 84 wins on the books, probably 85 if you know who it is. Won a championship, won some pretty prestigious races, was one of the most popular drivers in NASCAR history. The highest profile guest of the first 2 years of this show, Bobby Allison, in 8th position on this list. And me and Darian had him 8th. Eric in the chat had him 9th. Danny, I'm going to lead with you again because you got him the highest. Bobby Allison 6th on here.
Bobby Allison seemed like no matter what decade it was for him, he could compete. No matter what it was, which car he was in, all the way until the second he stopped driving, he could always do it. And that's why I had a lot of respect for Bobby Allison. And I looked up all Bobby Allison's stats, and I'm overall impressed with how many different kinds of cars he drove and how good he always was.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Like, he's one of those drivers where it's like damn, he doesn't have multiple championships. No, he just has one. But I mean, 84 wins. I mean, that's a lot to be proud of. And also too, when he was first starting out, him and his team, they were, sort of considered the underdogs and stuff, and they were, able to work their way up and take on the Giants and Petty Enterprises. They were both major rivals back in the day.
But I can't do this. I gotta go. Bye, guys.
Oh yeah, and also the infamous first interview we did with him.
Yeah, I don't have much else to add. I mean, his closet is just full of crown jewel race win trophies.
Yeah, which ones?
Well, he's got 3 Daytona 500s to start. I think you could pretty much tie a bow, wrap your career in a bow with that alone. 4-time Southern 500 winner. He also won the Coke 600 3 times. So that's remarkable. He's got a crooked number in every category.
10 crown jewel victories. Wow.
Yeah. Just resilient. I mean, that whole family, to be a part of, just be kind of the almost the head of the Allison family, but also to be a part of the Alabama gang. I mean, the dude has, when you have multiple brands, multiple nicknames, so many stories like that. I had him behind Kyle Busch by 1 spot because of the championships. And again, a little bit of recency bias, as I said at the beginning. If you win more in the 2000s, 2010s, 1990s, like I do believe those were slightly more competitive eras. But you just said something, Darian, that's true, is that Bobby Allison, they had a chip on their shoulder early on, having to go up against the Petty Enterprises of their day. Like, sure, it might have been a 2 or 3 horse race, but that was a tough horse to beat, and he managed to beat him quite a few times. So, easily a top 10 driver, no doubt.
Wonder how Cale Yarbrough might have felt about Bobby Allison back in the day.
Well, seeing how Bobby Allison was in the fight, and I'll last a little bit on him. 12 top 5 points finishes, 19 top 10 points finishes, member of the Alabama gang. Bobby Allison definitely has to be in the top 10 of all time. But right ahead of him, we do have another member of the fight, another hard-nosed racer. One that many don't know is actually a lot shorter than people would expect, but not in personality or driving talent, and that is Cale Yarbrough, who we have, he's 7 on the list. I'll just say this, the first 3 consecutive championship-winning driver ever. Darian has him 6th as well as me. Danny has him 8th. Eric in the chat 7th. I'm going to lead with you, Darian. You had him 6th. Why is Cale Yarbrough 6th all time for you?
Well, the main reason, you just said it, first 3-peat championship winner ever in NASCAR history. And, again, he had to go up against Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, a young Dale Earnhardt too, the young Terry Labonte, like just so much talent, in the field in those days. And also too, fun fact, this was Jimmy Johnson's favorite driver growing up too. So, I think Jimmy Johnson might have learned a thing or two.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
5.
Because he would eventually do it. Because Jimmy Johnson, wasn't he was he the second one to do that? Or no?
Yeah, there's only been 2.
Okay.
Only been 2.
Wow. Okay.
What stands out to me as well about Cale Yarbrough is he raced and won quite a bit through like kind of several generations, a very transformative era of NASCAR. Like I'm looking at this, he won his first Daytona 500 in 1968. 16 years later, he won his last Daytona 500. Like the cars, the style of racing from the late 60s to the mid 80s had changed dramatically. Darian just mentioned the talent, folks like a young Dale Earnhardt rising through the ranks by the end of Cale Yarbrough's career, and he could still go wheel to wheel with the best of them. So, I mean, his accolades speak for himself. I think I saw on the graphic, Jared, I had him 7th, so I have no issues with where he's placed. I think this is perfect.
And 4 Daytona 500s, 5 Southern 500s. Now, the thing that people will be surprised by is he only had 8 top 10 points finishes. Well, he only ran 8 full seasons. He had a lot of part-time runs, and 7 of those were top 5 points finishes, and 3 were 3 championships in a row.
Wow, I didn't even know that. Wow, I had no clue about that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's even crazier now.
And then, sorry.
Well, the thing for me is growing up, before Jimmy Johnson won those consecutive championships, Cale Yarbrough was the one that was always talked about and put in this, with this reverence of what he did and how that is one of the most possibly unbreakable records ever. And so that's, again, what made Jimmy Johnson's later 5 straight so impressive, is because when you compare it to what came before, it's so fitting, too, that Jimmy's favorite driver was Cale Yarbrough.
Yeah. And also, too,
what would you say, Danny?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I saw Peter Strada pointed out that Cale and Jimmy ended up having the same amount of wins too in their career.
Yeah, as well. And also too, Cale Yarbrough had a big part in growing the sport with the and there's a fight. So
and also just a lot of iconic paint schemes too that doesn't get talked about enough. The Busch car, the Hardy's car.
Yeah, those were cool.
And it's fitting that we have him right next to Bobby Allison on the list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't fight, y'all.
And so closing out our top 75, we have somebody who honestly needs no introduction because you probably couldn't get a word in edgewise. You'd have to basically just have him tell you himself. And that is Jaws. Daryl Waltrip is 6th all-time on our list. And it's pretty interesting. Again, this is the one that's not as controversial, this half of the top 10. But Darian, me, and Danny have him 7th. Eric and the chat have him 6th. So, I think we can see why we just barely had him scrape above. But he's another 3-time champ, 84 career wins, a lot of accolades over a very, very long career. But DW, a lot of people remember him for the broadcast career, but one of the greatest ever. Danny, lead us off. Why is DW 6th on this list?
I'm just going to go ahead and say something real quick that needs to be said just so I'll feel better about it. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's talk about DW, boys. Okay. DW, I had him sandwiched right in between Cale Yarbrough and Bobby Allison on my list. He's another driver that was really good throughout various different decades of sport. If he didn't have to go up against Dale Earnhardt, we could be talking about way more victories, way more championships in the grand scheme of things. His run-ins of Dale were very iconic, but just the amount of races that he won was always really big. His Daytona 500 win, getting to do what they call that, the hickey shuffle.
The icky
close enough.
The icky shuffle, and just I don't think something doesn't get talked about enough for him was his run of how many Bristol races he won. Like if you ever go look at some of at the top of Bristol Motor Speedway, they have various stars of Bristol up there, and it talks about Daryl Waltrip having several runs where he won races there, and it was just crazy what all he was able to do. Yeah,
7 in a row, from 81 to 84.
Like you think Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch had good runs where they won a lot. It doesn't compare. It doesn't touch what Daryl Waltrip did at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I don't think that record's ever going to be broken. It'll never be broken.
What jumps out to me as well, and the Bristol thing jumped out at me. I know he was great at Bristol, and if you're great at Bristol, I hold you in the highest of regards. I think that was one of the toughest racetracks on the schedule. Obviously, a ton of crown jewel winners, 3-time champion. All the accolades speak for themselves, but the longevity of his career, not just his broadcasting career, but his driving career also jumps out at me. He raced for, I think, close to 30 years, and he went winless his last few years, I believe. I don't remember when his final win was. But
1992.
So it was 8 years. Oh gosh, I didn't realize it was that long. If he doesn't run off to form Daryl Waltrip Racing, what year was it that he filled in the number one for DEI and the number one car?
Was it 2000?
It was 2000. Yeah, it was at the very
2000
end.
or 1999?
Oh wait, no.
1998.
1998. I did a video.
Or was it? Okay, I thought it was 99.
98. It was 98.
Whenever it was at the very end of his career, and I think he showed then that if he'd stayed in great equipment throughout the 90s, I think he wins a few more races. He might have even got close to 100.
Yeah.
So
did he get a win? Did he get a win or he come close?
He came close.
Okay.
Yeah, Pocono. Yeah, for sure. And also too, hey, he had a big mouth too. He did not care. He ran his mouth, man. That's why they called him Jaws. And it's crazy because at first he was similar to Kyle Busch, one of the most hated drivers, and then towards the end, one of the most beloved in the sport.
And 81, 82, 85 champion, 84 career wins, 89 500 winner champion, 92 Southern 500, 5-time Coke 600 winner, 18 top 10 point finishes, 12 top 5. And this is the crazy one. From 1975 to 1989, he won at least one race every season, and most of those were multiple win seasons.
Yeah, and in 1990, he could have won the North Wilkesboro race, but then Brett Bowden.
I will contest to this day. I think he also has an extra win that's not counted in his favor. But yes, DW, Daryl Waltrip, 6th all-time on our list. Now going through the list that we had today, we have Lee Petty in 10th, Kyle Busch 9th, Bobby Allison 8th, 7th is Cale Yarbrough, and DW, Daryl Waltrip, in 6th. And next week on Danny B's channel, when we go live for the NWP, you're going to see our top 5 ever. It's
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to have some real debates on that one, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Conway's clearly the number one. We all had him. I know.
Yeah, Tia Norfleet too. You know, some stout competition we got next week.
Well, maybe we might get competition from those who are racing at Watkins Glen this weekend. Watkins Glen is coming up, and we got Xfinity and Cup for this one. One weekend note to kind of talk about, according to AccuWeather and a couple others like the Weather Channel, there is a possibility of wildfire smoke making the air a bit hazy in New York this weekend, specifically Saturday. So that is something to watch for, especially when it comes to such a big road course like this. But yes, we have 3 races we'll talk about. Thursday night's SRX race at Lucas Oil Speedway at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. It's going to be 87 and humid, but only a 6% chance of rain tomorrow night out in Missouri. There is no defending winner here, as well, the SRX has never raced here before. As for the entry list, I took a screenshot of it earlier, and here is the starting lineup for the Heat. Heat 1, I should say. Jonathan Davenport, Haley Deegan, Ken Schrader, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Newman, Ilya Castroneves, Tony Stewart, Marco Andretti, Bobby Labonte, Ernie Francis Jr., Clint Boyer, and Kenny Wallace. That is Thursday's race coming up, and know those names for when we get to picks. As for Saturday, the Xfinity race is the Shriners Children 200, 82 laps. Stages go 20-20-42. Starts at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on USA and MRN. Forecast for Saturday, 77, mostly sunny, 2% chance of rain. Kyle Larson is your defending winner in that one, which he will not be defending this year. The Cup race is the Go Bowling at the Glen, 90 laps, 20-20-50, and then it starts at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. USA and MRN are your broadcasters. 86 degrees is what it'll be on Sunday. Mostly sunny and warm, only a 10% chance of rain. We can have those rain tires and the very minimal chance. Kyle Larson will be trying to defend this one as he won there last year. Now, Darian, who are some of those who might be gunning for that win?
Oh yes, it's time for Darian's famous betting odds. Let's start off with Chase Elliott as this weekend's odds-on favorite at plus 350, Kyle Larson plus 500, Martin Truex Jr. plus 650, Tyler Reddick plus 800, and Michael McDowell plus 1,000. As for the best of the rest, Christopher Bell plus 1,100, Daniel Suarez plus 1,200, KFB Kyle Busch plus 1,300, AJ Allmendinger 1,400, and Chris Buescher at 1,800. As for the underdogs, Denny Hamlin plus 2,000, Austin Cindric plus 3,000, Kevin Harvick plus 4,500, Ross Chastain plus 5,000, and just for fun, Mike Rockenfeller at plus 30,000. That's no joke. Plus 30,000. So we'll see how he performs. And as for the NWP Fantasy League standings, for the first league, Sean 48NY is the points leader over Trevor Sports 98, followed by Rivers. Third, fourth, the NASCAR Bear, and rounding out the top 5 is 48 Nation. Now, as for the second NWP Fantasy League, Race Roar 48 is the points leader, followed by JC_43, who was less than 20 points now, 18 to be exact, outside of the lead. And third is Vroom HMS. Fourth is your one and only BFM, and rounding out the top 5 is 42 Larson 5. And just another side note, all of the top 5 I just listed are separated by less than 100 points. Very, very interesting points battle.
Oh, and we have another interesting points battle, guys. Are we ready to see the pick point standings this week? Because
I know Eric is.
Yeah. Why don't we pop this baby on screen here? The chat continues to lead at 412 points. Eric is 14 behind right now. Got 2 of the races right, just not that last one. I am 38 back in third. Darian 47 back in fourth. Yes. Danny still minus 60 in the top 5 in fifth.
Hey, not last. I'll take it. We're also close though still. Well, at least for this part of the year, we're pretty
Yes.
close.
If only
Oh,
Kyle
so
Busch
for-
hadn't broke, y'all would be done for.
The fact that I am in fifth minus 60 back at this point in the year is huge.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, let's get to who will probably be good this weekend with our picks. So, Eric, lead us off. Who is going to win the SRX race?
This is a tough one. I think there's two clear front runners. I'm tempted to go with the ringer in this case, Jonathan Davenport. I do think he'll be impressive, but I got to go Tony Stewart. He was just toying with the field at Eldora.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with smoke as well.
Yeah, Tony Stewart.
I'm riding a Superman. I'm riding up Jonathan Davenport for this one.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
The chat is looking. Yeah,
It's Tony.
looking. Yeah, it's Tony. Like that's all I see.
But hey, congrats to Ryan Newman going to lock up that championship this weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot.
Has he clinched it yet, or is he just need to like finish 11th or something to clinch it?
I don't follow the SRX championship.
they were
at all.
talking-
I don't
they were-
follow it. Yeah.
They were talking
I'm-
last week about like, oh, if he finishes 5th or better, he clinches it. And I thought, how on the hell? 6-race season, and you got someone clinching the championship.
I mean, there's only 8 people running it full time. So
Yeah, true that. Oh, by the way, Jarrett, the DW poll's still up. Oh, now it's gone.
Yeah, I-
just letting you know.
I got it. But no, who's going to win the Xfinity race? I think is a big question now.
Nailed this pick last week. Ty Gibbs winning on a road course. I think he goes back to back. Ty Gibbs wins Watkins Glen.
Well, I think I'm going to be riding the same bus as you, Eric. I got Ty Gibbs as well. AJ, I said a while back I will pick AJ Allmendinger until he gives me a reason why. 1, I thought was a fluke. 2, is not at this point. I think that his crown as being the better of the two and the better in the series is over.
Hi, Gibbs.
the car won last year. It'll be a No, don't laugh at this. Don't laugh at this. I'm about to say something sad.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right.
The car won last year. It'll be in memory of old Roscoe. Alex Bowman going to get the win.
That's right.
That is sad.
That is. Yeah.
When you said sad, I thought you were going to make another diss on Alex.
Yeah.
Bowman,
So
just
I forgot
continue to
about
tear him
that.
down.
Yeah.
That's an admirable pick.
No, for real though, when I found that out, I was like, I really hope he wins.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
no one is picking Kyle Busch to win an Xfinity race.
Nope.
Mhm.
The hell's
Wait.
going on?
Wait, he's in it?
It's colleague,
Yeah.
bro. It's colleague though.
Nope, they're
I
going
thought-
and the chat's going
Wait,
between the 17 and the 19.
I thought AJ was driving that one.
No.
Apparently he's like at his limit for the year, so they couldn't put him in the 10.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure Road America is worth it now. And the poll is up right now. We'll let that roll because it was
Yeah.
close. But let's go on the suck pick. Who's going to suck in the Cup race this week?
I want to focus on playoff bubble drivers for my selections. And this is the easy pick. I'm not gonna pick Bubba. I'm gonna go Brad. I know Brad has historically been good at Watkins Glen, but he hasn't been great on road courses this year, so I'm just not feeling it. I'll go Brad.
I'm gonna go with somebody who has had success here before, but I think will struggle, as I think he's struggled here before as well. I'm gonna go Denny Hamlin.
Bubba Wallace. That's the easiest pick.
Side note, I think they're going with Alex Bowman out of sympathy, and I think I might have been the reason for that. But also, Alex Bowman's my pick to suck in the Cup race.
Damn.
Yeah, they're going
Dang.
Bowman. And that,
Oh my gosh, chat! Y'all picked Alex Bowman over Ty Gibbs
I'm just as confused, and I
at
picked
Watkins
Bowman.
Glen. What are y'all doing?
Hey, last week it did me favor to ride in the chat, so
well,
Yeah.
we'll find out. But we got to move forward to who's our dark horses this week.
So my dark horse actually is Ty Gibbs as well. I think he's obviously a great road course racer. I looked this up. A third of his Xfinity wins, including last week, have been on road courses. I said it earlier. I thought he had a top 5 car at Indianapolis, never got a chance to show it. So Ty Gibbs, again, I'm focusing on bubble drivers. I think he'll have top 5 speed. He's a rookie. Does he have the experience? Will he know what to do with it?
Eric, we're in the same boat again.
Oh, geez.
Great minds do the same research.
I hope so.
Because
Yeah.
I got Gibbs.
Yeah, last year this guy was running up front some in the very beginning of this race last year for sure, and I was like, "Whoa, man, it really impressed me." I'm going to go with Todd Gilliland as my underdog.
Oh, I like that.
And I'm going with his teammate, fresh off the win at Indianapolis. I think he'll have maybe another top 5 run here at Watkins Glen, Michael McDowell.
Mhm.
And the chat, it's kind of up in the air, but I think it looked like either the 38 or the 16. I'll just give you the 38 just in case you want to pick AJ for this next segment.
All right, folks, we have now arrived to the main event. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win this weekend at the Glen? Eric?
I've spoiled this pick about a half a dozen times. Chase Elliott is my pick to win. I was a little bummed when I saw that he was the heavy favorite according to Las Vegas. I'm hoping he'd fly a little more under the radar. Like, obviously, you go to road course, Elliott's gonna be a top 3 pick. I get that, but he was like clearly the favorite on the betting odds. That makes me a little nervous. But I've been riding with them for about I've been predicting for about 6 weeks that he was going to win Watkins Glen. This is the week that he hopefully makes me look like a genius.
So I've been very much opposed to that. Just because he seemed off. I wanted something to see. I think I saw it at Indy, gotten better each week. At the 11th hour, I've kind of shifted my view as well, and I can't believe it. Eric, you and I are going to pick every single one of these the same. I'm going Chase Elliott as well. I'm riding with you in the boat this week.
Oh, but don't sink.
Yeah.
There is, without question, my pick is going to be the most controversial. But I'm just going to pull up these stats here. At the Indy Road Course, this driver had the 5th best driver rating, 5th best average running position, and the 8th best green flag lap speed. And this all came at a track that featured one of the longest green flag runs in recent memory, and where he had never finished inside the top 15. He's gotten better on road courses as of recently. And also he's going to a road course that'll feature long green flag runs, and he's never finished inside the top 10. Alex Bowman gets the victory.
You didn't even pick him for Saturday, but you picked him for Sunday? That's unusual.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Last year was a weird year for this guy, but before that, from 2016 to 2021, he finished 7th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. This guy is really good at this place. He knows it really well. And I think in a race where there's no stage breaks, I think this favors him a lot better than years past. I'm going to Martin Truex Jr. to win this weekend.
That's where it's split in the chat too. Truex versus Elliott. The poll is up for that one because there were a lot of 9s early and a lot towards the end here, but Martin Truex Jr. is up here. The chat's playing games. Elliott's the favorite, but some of them also are looking at Truex to try and just be the opposite of Eric.
Considering they just took Alex Bowman, they probably going to try to follow you guys.
Yeah,
you guys could try to pad your lead with Truex. He's one of the winningest drivers this year.
True that. Yeah.
And while we have that rolling, we'll go to our super chat segment. But before that, I just want to let everybody know that next week, a busy week for us NWP guys. Starting out Friday with the duels on IDK Players channel for the NWP 400 that will be on August 22nd.
Yeah, that's this Friday are the duels. Yes. Next week is the main event.
Yes, and then the 23rd will be on Danny's channel. We'll be previewing the regular season finale, maybe talking about an Elliott win or a Truex win. The return to Milwaukee, that's coming up the same weekend. That's Sunday. We got the end of our top 75 list with the top 5 ever. We got a lot going on, so you're not going to miss or not going to want to miss that one. I figured I'd let you guys know while y'all are here. By the way, you're 75 likes away from that 400 if you can hit it.
If you want to, just take that, tweet it out to your friends. Say, hey, you don't even have to watch this. Just go like it.
There you go.
But while we give you the chance to get to the 400 mark, let's get into the final super chats of the night. Shadowfire Sin, thank you for the $2 super chat. Name a team you want back in Cup. For me, it's RYR, or Robert Yates Racing, or DEI. DEI is I would like, but I don't think it's ever going to go the way it should have been. So I'll go Yates.
I'll go with I was gonna go with DEI at first, but no, I'll go with the more recent team, Furniture Row.
Furniture would be interesting. Yates, I mean, I guess Yates in a way is still involved with Ford building the engine, so might be more natural.
I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna say I wish we still had Red Bull.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
They also leave a $2 one saying plus rep for that smoke jacket.
Oh yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Alex Luff, thank you for the 5. Hey Danny, who are you rooting for on SmackDown? Sheamus or Edge? I say go Edge. Is what
Go Edge.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be his last match ever. It sounds like so.
Oh.
Marky Mark for 2 says howdy fellas. Howdy.
Hi.
Howdy.
Hello.
Andrew for 2 says FRM is legit better than SHR right now.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a hell of a fact.
A Prada for 5 says who on their 2023 bingo card had McDowell and his rookie crew chief winning a race and outpacing Alex Bowman and his crew chief, and incredible and iconic story.
That is true. We thought he was going to downgrade losing him. So
Yeah.
Good run.
Yeah, it was a good run. Yeah.
Ross Crash Stain for 2. Bowman finished a race. Hang the banner.
Oh,
his name might be Ross, but I found out he's a big Alex Bowman fan.
Yeah.
Hang the banner. Shadowfire Sin for another 2 saying, look, chat, it's Keanu Reeves. You're breathtaking. Antar Das, thank you for the 5. Is 2012 the greatest in motorsports history? I think that year in motorsports history. NASCAR had JJ Boyer Brad. Indy had RHH, Power, Dixon, Elliott, and F1 had 6 champions fighting.
That's right. Yeah, you know what? It would be hard to argue against it. I mean, yeah, you had to close battles.
David Bell, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Devin, thank you for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Iceberg. Need for Speed 5353, thank you for being a member for 5 months. Just wait for Ty Dillon to win at Daytona.
Oh, Eric up in the ante there.
Nice. I'll let. Oh, come on.
44 to go. 44.
Come on, chat.
Joke with the $2 super chat. First super chat ever. Well, thank you.
Oh, cool.
And he says,
thanks.
He says, hello, Bubba, make it please.
Good use of a super chat.
Yeah.
You better hope that these guys' prediction Chase Elliott when it doesn't happen.
You better pray.
39 away. If you got any alt accounts, you might want to bring them out.
Come on.
And the poll for the cup winner is basically
wait,
tied.
Yeah, it's done.
I love it.
Oh, God, I have a few other accounts. I'll help with this.
M. Martin fan for life. Thank you for being a member for 5 months. Repeat winner, Watkins Glen, and surprise winner, Daytona. That would be interesting. Matthew Brown, thank you for a $20 super chat. Kyle Larson is my driver, and I also like Chase Elliott. I'm a lifelong Hendrick fan, but watching both seem to struggle to get the speed back that they used to have in the Gen 6 is starting to concern me. Hopefully, though, it turns out great.
Yeah.
I think they can. I think they are very talented drivers who very much. M. Martin fan for life. Thank you for another 5. If they go back to the Indy Oval, for the love of God, please only call it the Brickyard 400, not the Verizon 400 or any other sponsor name. I'm serious. As a kid, until about 2010, I thought it was the Allstate.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I was a dumb kid.
They paid a lot of money for you to say that.
Yeah. So it worked. It worked.
Steve, thank you for the 2. Sorry I'm late. My daughter took her first steps. Congratulations.
Yes, that was a massive W.
Yeah, we saw I saw the video on Twitter, so
that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Devin, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships as well. I appreciate it. It's nothing. Thank you for being a member for 10 months. McDowell 2 in a row. What do y'all think? Also, hi.
It's possible. It's possible.
Possible, but not my pick.
A lot more possible than it would have been last year.
Yep.
Let's see. It just redid it on me. good Lord, there's a lot. Smoky Bandit, thank you for the 5. SVG is extremely quick in anything he jumps in, so don't underestimate him being able to learn ovals. I think it's very possible he's a talented driver. Antar Das, thank you for the 199. Whenever Hamlin retires, I found my new guy, SVG.
Ooh,
Nice.
Interesting.
Okay.
Hunter Nixon Fishing, thank you for the 10. I'm in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee on vacation with family and bought me a Kyle Larson t-shirt today. As
Nice.
starting next year, he'll be my new guy once Harvick retires.
Interesting.
cool.
Well, have fun.
Alex, thank
Yeah.
you for the 2. Should Live Fast sell their charter? Nah, they're improving.
Yeah, nah, bro. We got love for them. Nah,
Yeah,
bro.
We're a little biased in that answer.
Love fast.
NASCAR Sun 2414 for the 5. NWP guys, what track should host IndyCar and NASCAR combined? And he leaves some options. St. Louis, Road America, Iowa, Nashville Oval, or a street course, or just somewhere else.
I would love Chicagoland. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Chicago.
Road
Yeah.
America.
Or you know what, Vegas, if they ever want to go back. You know, we have the Halos now, so drivers said they would love to go back, so that'd be cool.
David Bell, thank you for the $10. Congrats, men, on the NWP anniversary. Next up, next NASCAR Classics, he says. My bad on that one.
No, you go.
Reading illiterate.
Thanks for the support, David.
Austin
appreciate it.
Blanset, thank you for these 2 $5 super chats. Just wanted to say how appreciative I am of all you guys. Been going through it. You guys have helped me get through a dark time this past year. Well, I'm
Thank
glad
you.
we can do
Wow.
anything to help.
Yeah, I'm glad we
Yeah.
could help. Yeah.
And he says, lost my dream job in ministry last year, but through my faith, friends, and entertainment like you guys, I can't say thank you enough. I wish I could. Well, we appreciate it either way.
Keep that faith, bro. That's what it's all about, bro. Keep the faith.
Absolutely.
NRF 8, thank you for being a member for 23 months. McDowell has more wins than SHR. And then he says, FR.
Ah.
By the way, we just need 6 more likes.
Yeah, less than 10, y'all. Come on. Let's do it.
And the poll is very close.
Very close. Wow.
I'm literally just going to end it as it goes and let it auto choose who's the leader of the poll once it's done.
All right.
Austin, thank you for another 10. Take you guys out for supper sometime with this. Tonight was big for me as I got to interview with a new church tonight, and you guys helped me get over what happened. You guys are all awesome, and I love
Oh,
you.
that's awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
thanks.
Thank you,
Well,
bro.
best
I
of luck.
appreciate
Hope
that.
it all goes well.
Yeah.
Best of luck with you, man.
We did it. We did it. 400. We did it. Let's go. Let's go.
Good job, guys. Bryce Sizemore, thank you for the 10. NASCAR 05 Chase for the Cup was my first game, and that's what got me hooked on the sport. Just make a good game for the love of God.
Yeah. Just make it a competent, bro. Let's go.
The Racing Rail Fan 93 for 5 says All-Star Race at the Indy Oval. No. Jetafire Sin for 2. Eric stop motion videos for the next NASCAR game for the win.
Yeah. Fun.
Blake, thank you for the 2 as well. You guys seen Dogleg Media's NASCAR number history? Yes, really good series.
Yeah.
Ryan, thank you for the 20. This is not NASCAR related, but I went to my first Little League World Series game earlier today. It's something I had never had on my bucket list in a long time. I highly recommend taking the trip to Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
I've always
we'll
seen
go
it
check
on
that out.
TV. Yeah. And actually, fun fact, Austin Dillon pitched in the, I think it was the 2002 Little League World Series. Oh, okay. Eric's background. Oh, here we go. I mean,
Need for Speed was the first answer to my question. What should I change my Zoom background to? He said, of course, Ty Dillon. So
of course.
Oh, man. Jonathan, thank you for the $4. Is that a super sticker? It has a pear with a cup of Joe, it looks like.
Yep.
But thank
That's
you.
a sticker.
His first super sticker on the channel. I appreciate it a ton.
Hey, also, I just noticed the poll. You should just end it now.
Yeah,
50-50
it's
and see what it goes
50-50.
with.
You might as well. Let's see.
Well, I'm gonna wait till the end of the super chats just in case.
Okay.
We're gonna keep this. We're gonna keep rolling this out. We got those late votes to count up. Isaac, thank you for the 2. Prediction for number 1, Todd Blue. That's an old.
Oh, that's an old one. Yeah.
Firepile129, thank you for the 2. Where is Jeff Gordon? Is he not in the top 10? Well, maybe it might be next week. Maybe
No.
we left him off.
Yeah, we left him off.
NASCAR Sun 2414. Thank you for the 5. NWP guys, should NASCAR race Father's Day if the Olympics are an issue in 2024? Also, should Phoenix only have one race during the season if it's the finale? I like racing on Father's Day. I'm biased though because my first race I went to was with my dad on Father's Day at Michigan, so I'm a little biased there.
I'll go with if there's some sort of conflict with the Olympics, yeah, for sure.
They gotta do what they gotta do if they still want to end the season close to when they do. So I mean, Mother's Day, Easter, Father's Day, Christmas, hell, it's all getting erased.
Christmas.
So, no, I love that we lose part of Eric when he goes behind his microphone.
Yeah, it's like the little invisibility cloak.
Yep.
As for a second, your little sticker was still there.
Well, I'll answer the other question and let's get to the end of these super chats. But I'll say Phoenix, I like the finale having one race just because I like everyone having to be the absolute best they have to be going into it personally. That's what I liked. One of the things I liked about Homestead, and I'll add that I would like that for Phoenix. Plus, if we can get a better racetrack than Phoenix to take that date, I'm cool with it too. But that's my take. Alex, thank you for the 5. An idea. How about the winner of the NWP 400 gets to be a guest on the NWP the following night? Hope you all are well. We plan a lot of that a lot in advance, so that we probably wouldn't be able to do that last minute, but maybe in the coming years.
This is nice teeth.
Alessandro, thank you for the 5. The Gen 7 has promised parity, and so far it's delivered, seeing drivers like McDowell win. Also, David Pearson better be number 1 on the top 75 list. Well, you better watch to find out. Danny's channel next week.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow Fire Sin, thank you for the 2. Eric, where's your chicken sponsor?
We got to work something out. I'm in Florida right now, and I moved out here not realizing. Well, no, I realized
that looks like Texas to me back there.
Yeah. That I forgot there were no Raising Cane's out here, and then I was driving around the other day, and they're building one.
Nice.
Well,
final super chat here from Devin, saying for 2, move the Indy doubleheader weekend to Toronto. We're gonna end the poll now, and Chase Elliott at pick.
Dang.
I thought y'all were gonna go Truex.
I wish we could have done that when it was 50-50.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
I want to give everyone the chance to get it in while they could, but
Chase Elliott got the edge.
That, guys, I think is it. That is another episode in the books of the NWP. We'll be on. Oh, wow.
This is my face when there's no Raising Cane's. This is my face when there is Raising Cane's.
Well, guys, I had a lot of fun tonight, but it is time to go.
Yes,
so we will see you next week on Danny B's channel, right after the night after the NWP 400 that Tuesday night. Be sure to watch all of it. It's going to be a ton of fun, and we'll all be involved in having fun with it with you guys.
Yep.
But till next time, have a good one.
Goodbye.
Checking.
Hell yeah. Ready. What the copy? Right foot down. We got to go, Glen. Unbelievable, man. Ready to keep your hand in this. Holy oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. Boy. Yeah. I'm done with it. Fix your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Doing great.